Welcome.
I see that this. I was on Twitter just a few minutes ago. I just noticed that this interview with Jeff Ross was kind of floating around on Twitter, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about here. Um, and I feel like this is going to be very important. If everybody could start streaming the channel to get it popping in here. Get it popping in here. Let me just do a sound check.
Are we live?
We, yeah, we've been live, dude. 7
Oh,
o'clock.
okay.
2 minutes. Let me see
Okay.
here. Danny boy. Maki boy.
What's good, guys?
Oh, he's soft spoken
What's up,
tonight.
bro?
Not much, man. Cold, cold and tired.
Wait, why are you cold?
Because I live in fucking England. It's fucking freezing.
Well,
It's cold, motherfucker.
that motherfucker
Yeah.
said it right. Okie dokie. Yo, so we are. Let me just double check here. Make sure it's done. It's done. Am I the only one streaming this right now?
No, I'm streaming.
Okay.
Well, I'm watching on YouTube.
Yes, I meant. My bad. Yeah, that's two. What about you, poor internet man?
I'll pull it up on my phone. Hold up.
Man, you just so defiant, man. I ain't gonna do shit.
Is there anyone here from Escobar?
Nah.
No.
Okay.
Ain't heard shit.
Niggas doing coke and shit.
For
So
real, yo.
let's get this shit on the road, cause I don't know. I took a nap and woke up with a fucking headache somehow. It's super annoying. Either way, welcome to PlayStation Culture. This is the PlayStation Culture crew. Today we are three strong. Uh, we got Dan, Ken, and Josh today, and we're going to be talking about three subjects as you can see at the bottom right hand side of the screen. Ben Studio speaks, Sony's counterpunch to GamePass, and a future of PlayStation as main topics for today. And we got three topics here, and we got three niggas in this room. Who wants to do what first and when?
Um, you guys pick because you guys pick the topics. I'll take whatever scraps you give me.
Oh, don't say
As you
that,
as
man.
you as you won the old teabag victory in Boston.
Well, let me ask you this, right? As you
Yeah,
were
well,
scouring the interwebs,
in,
was
yeah.
there something that you saw of interest?
Um, the Ben Studio things I'm not really phased on. I mean, I have some interesting points on that, but I think that'll probably be best served with maybe yourself or someone else, especially on Ben.
Yeah, that's my
Um,
studio right now. I
yeah,
mean, that's my
so
subject.
I'll leave Ben to you. I'm happy with the other two. So, I mean, Ken, do you want to do future of PlayStation or Sony's Counterpunch?
No, he wanted to do the counterpunch. I'm sure. That's what he told me initially. Is that right or am
I
I
think
incorrect?
Ken, this nigga.
You have 10
Can you guys
seconds.
hear me?
No, we couldn't.
Yeah. Now we can. Which one do you want?
Okay. I didn't hear anything you guys just said. What did you say?
Do you want
Do
to
you want
do?
topic 2 or 3, nigga?
Oh. um. What we got? Counterpunch. We could.
You
He
got
said, "What do we
no.
got?" Like
You
we
guys
Basically,
just
don't. You
discussed
guys
about
don't
do you
that
want
want to
shit.
take? Do you want to take lead on 2 or 3? That's what we're asking you.
to. You guys didn't want to start with the first one. Ben
No,
Studio.
Yeah,
no,
You want to
because
but
do
we
it
that's
on
not
that?
that's,
no.
that's not the question.
I'm asking. Yeah, I'm asking because we have three people in here. One person, Dan, may fall off at the end. That's why I was saying be mindful of the amount of stuff that we talk about because this shit is these 5 hours, into the future. That being said, I didn't you want to talk about the because we got to start the show. You want to talk about the counter punch, right? That was
We could
one.
talk about that.
That was one of your main topics, and
I
I'm going
mean,
to talk about Ben.
Oh, do you know what? I'll make it easier. I'll take the future of PlayStation.
Thank
There
you.
we go. Okay, now.
Take it away, Mr.
I
Black
mean,
Man. When the black man testifies.
The future of PlayStation. Do you know what?
Walt.
It's in a weird place, and I felt very uncomfortable over the weekend. I took my time. I didn't really make too much comments on social media. Well, let me just. I didn't want to just be a part of everybody else's be a part of the echo chamber and just overreact. But thinking about it all, I'm very I'm very 50-50. I'm concerned in a lot of areas because a lot of areas doesn't make sense. I'm concerned that PlayStation have gone back to that
Arrogant. Is that what you want to say?
arrogant, arrogant PS3 era Sony, um, which wasn't a good place. They did a lot of work to bring back the PS4 and bring a lot of favor back into our hearts, and I just feel like it's all being undone. Um, Now, is that us being paranoid because they're not speaking? Because in theory,
Iron Fist,
nothing's
what's
been
up?
undone. They just haven't spoken. So on one side of the fence, they just haven't said anything. So it's not a case of everything's been undone because they haven't really said anything. And because they haven't said anything, we're just thinking, oh shit, what's going on? My my other theory is the fact that Xbox is being very loud and being very brash is because let's not forget they were very far behind. Yeah, so they had to make a lot. They had no choice but
Magnificent,
to
what's
make a
going
lot of
on?
noise. They didn't have a choice but to
Xbox
make a
is
lot of
acting
noise.
like the typical ghetto bitch right now.
Yeah,
With the
so
with the
like
fingernails.
and I'll be honest with you, even though I'm a bit annoyed, I think Sony it's time for them to speak. At the same time, I sort of respect Sony for the. They're like nigga,
Umar was
we're
good.
just moving smooth. We're moving smooth, like because it's just like we're still selling out. Like I don't know about in the US, but in the UK, the PS5 you can't buy it, but it's still the top selling console right now. And they don't really have to speak. I mean, they do have to speak, but like I feel like they don't need. Like you have to remember, for Sony, it's the same old expression that it's chess and not checkers for them. Always. I think that's how they move. Now, could they do things a bit differently? Probably. Can they do things a bit better? 100%. But I mean, come on, like I just think right now it's a game of chess for them. So I feel like they're just lining their ducks up in a row, and then they're gonna probably sort of drop some bombs very soon. Um,
That's what they say. The proof is in the panties. Pudding.
Something's in them panties, man. Some, Something sticky. I don't know if it's pudding or not, but
Has the same consistency as pudding.
yeah, definitely sticky. uh, UK is PlayStation territory.
This is why Jim
Yeah,
Ryan. This is why Jim Ryan took pole position, and that's why I want to actually take what you said and put it in a bottle, contain this, right? and take a look at what Sony has been doing as of late. I feel like actions has always spoke louder than words. In the late DMX,
Rest in peace.
he states,
Yeah, man.
actually, let me find it so we can digest it, right? I got it right here on deck because this is one of those things where, you know,
But trust in the fact you always trust everyone to be themselves, but trust in the fact you can see them well.
all right. He says, always trust in the fact that people are going to be themselves, and also trust into the fact that you can see them well. And that basically means very, very simply, trust that you know what you are seeing. The again, the proof is in the pudding. Microsoft has hired, since it's the PlayStation podcast, Microsoft has hired or promoted what the fuck is his name? Can't think of his name right now. Who's that head dude?
Phil Spencer.
Thank you, Phil Spencer. About 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Now, what have you guys been playing if you are Xbox players, right? Since he's been there, what have you been
Nah,
playing that
shit.
was critically acclaimed? We're not talking
Third
about
party
We're not
games.
talking about Game Pass because Game Pass you're playing games that you already played. You
They've been
know.
Not a
playing.
goddamn thing.
They've been playing third party games.
Okay. Have you already played?
That's on every other platform. Yeah.
Or you've been playing games that weren't received well critically, or they have very formulatic uh, 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 formulas, for lack of a better word, formulatic gameplay. You know what I'm saying? That's such as Outriders, right? Shots fired.
Yes.
uh, you know, what has Sony been doing for the last 3 years?
Moving like fucking drug dealers, bro.
So let
They've
me
been
go.
getting this.
So let's
They're
go
getting
back
the
in
product
time.
out.
Let's go back in time. 2019, 18, 2018. What did it release?
2018,
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man, God of War,
God of
remake
War.
for
Mm.
Yep.
um the remake for Shadow of the Colossus,
Okay.
stuff like that.
2000
2019 they had what, Days Gone, Death Stranding, and a couple other smaller games like Concrete Genie and Medieval, stuff like that.
You're forgetting one.
I think what was it? Detroit Become Human. I think that came out in 2018,
Mm-hmm.
if
But
I'm
you
not
but
mistaken.
in 19, what else are you forgetting?
2019. I can't remember.
Nigga, Ghost of Tsushima. Was it? That's Ghost, right?
No, that's
No,
2020,
excuse
bro.
me.
No,
2020.
that's
Damn.
that's 2020. Yeah.
So
That's when
many,
they did the back.
so many hits
Back
for
to back.
days.
Yeah,
Damn.
they had Last of Us 2 and Ghost was 2020.
And what else did we release?
Yeah,
What else came out in 2020?
2020. They had a bunch of stuff in 2020, man. They had Ghost. They had Final Fantasy VII remake, The Last of Us Part Two. They did the Persona 5 Royal.
Yeah.
Neo 2 came out. What else came out in 2020? Um, I think those were pretty much the major ones, though,
No, no, no,
for the
no. There
most
was
part.
some more. There was some more.
Dreams,
Dreams. Mm-hmm. Keep going.
Dreams officially, yeah, Dreams officially came out of early access.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Spider-Man, Miles Morales.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to count the PS5,
Yes, you
Demon
definitely do.
Souls.
Mm-hmm.
Demon Souls.
Yeah, Demon Souls. Yeah, the Pathless,
Mm-hmm.
Astrobot,
Mm.
all that shit.
Okay.
Sackboy.
Mm.
Yeah,
Preach.
yeah, they had a whole bunch of stuff
What are
for
we
the
worried?
PS4 and the PS5.
What are we worried about? As a matter of fact, it looked like they're ramping up on things that they're going to do. Now, when you look at all of this is all because Sony isn't saying anything. And let me ask you this: when did Jim Ryan become head of PlayStation.
It wasn't even that long ago.
I think it was what 2019, right?
Okay,
I can't
it was
remember to be
2019.
honest.
So 2020 we had dreams. Okay, so Umar is definitely. How many people we got in the chat? I want to make a statement.
Um, we got 5 people right now in the
Five
chat.
people. Okay, I'm waiting to get a little bit more because Umar knows. I will say this: Umar about to get hooked up with a $20 gift card from Amazon for being a real ass nigga. So I want to make sure I make a fucking spectacle out of you, Umar. So just listen. So we know that Jim Ryan came into play in 2019. We know that all of those games have come out, right? We know the statement for which Sony has actually stated. They believe in generations, right? And it's gotten twisted online because who the fuck knows actually? You know,
Umar for president.
I know, right? It's
I got you, bro.
it's gotten twisted. It gotten twisted online.
Got my vote.
It literally gotten twisted online, right? Um, that Jim Ryan did. Like I hate when people take a little snip and just take it out of context. He literally within that interview stated that what's the point of making a new console if you're not going to cater to it via controller, like the haptic feedbacks, 3D sound, the ray tracing and stuff like that. He still sticks by to this, right? So everything that he's saying is accurate. And now the narrative is why are they making games for PC, right? Which I will touch on when it gets to my subject, right? Because there's a reason for this. My subject is going to be the Ben Studios and what they have spoken on, you know, because that's very important as this whole argument. But let's talk about the future of PlayStation. We do know that God of War Ragnarok is coming out. We know that there's a Horizon Forbidden West. We know that Sucker Punch is doing something. They even gave out a fucking co-op for free. That
Yep.
rival fucking a whole bunch of those things, Outriders and shit like that, along with a full ass game.
Yeah,
Right?
I think people forget that DLC for Ghost of Tsushima was amazing. Like people pay like top dollar just to have that as a basic standalone game. Like I don't understand. But because it's Sony, it's just like, oh well, we deserve to have it anyway. It was just like, well, if that was Xbox, they would make a big song and dance about that about that DLC. Xbox can't even release that as a game, let alone DLC.
That's the thing that
But
I'm
anyway,
trying. That's the thing that I'm trying to hammer home. We know that shit is coming. So the only real problem, because Sony has been giving us updates. They even gave us an update on stating that they're going to have an answer to GamePass, which they didn't have to do, but they did do it. The problem with the internet now is that you don't have a face for your PR, but you don't need one. You look at Nintendo when Ueda died and when Reggie retired.
yeah,
Who's the face of Nintendo?
Doug Bowser, and no one gives a shit about Doug
No one.
Bowser.
I didn't even know.
I know that nigga's name because his name's Bowser from Mario. That's the only reason why I know his
Did
name's
he
Doug Bowser.
did he ever say anything about the future of Nintendo and what he's doing? Did anybody say
Nigga,
I
anything at all?
completely forgot about that dude, yo.
I did
that's what I
too.
was going to say. No one even cares about him.
But guess what? But guess what's the most successful Nintendo console?
The Switch, baby.
The Switch. The Switch. Home console, if you want to call it that, because the second the handheld would be
Game Boy.
no, it would be the DS.
Yeah, sorry, the DS. Yeah, the first one.
So, do you really need a guy that you need to resonate with? Do you really need that, like statistically? Oh, you know what? I did like Sean Layton. Sean Layton was just so, he's just so relatable. He was just so nice. You know, I really
I
did
did like
like
John.
him.
I did like him though, like low key.
We
Yeah, I
know,
like him
yo.
too,
You
but
know,
like,
we know you gay for him, yo.
but the thing is, I see what Josh's point
I
is.
like
Like,
that beard, yo.
whether we have to look at it like this: whether we like him or not, whether we like Phil Spencer, like a CEO shouldn't determine if you're going to support the console.
No,
You know,
the games, regardless of the loud minority, the games always speak. You know what I'm
and
saying?
just in reference to Sean Layden at one of his press conferences, as he said, it's all about the games. Really and truly, at the end of the day, it's all about the games.
I mean, people are retweeting him, cutting out like little snippets of his thing. And he's like, with his fucked up teeth, it's all about the games.
And that's true.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, we gotta fire Jim Ryan. Ryan, niggas is doing a petition. Really think that? Like, I'm being serious. You really think that's going to change something? Do you realize that Jim Ryan, not excuse me, Sean Layton, wanted PC games, and there's a reason why they want PC games, which I will speak on when it's my time to shine on my subject. Right? They said all this shit, and then somehow people are fearful because of the immediate future. It's the future. It's the time that we live in. It's the times that we live in, right? The times that we live in is immediate gratification for every fucking thing. You ain't getting no pussy or dick or whatever the fuck you search for at home. Instantly, X videos, hamster, X hamster, whatever the fuck do you do, right?
Do you know from personal experience?
Oh, I got another website. I go to Twitter, the dark side of Twitter, yo. You get some raunchy ass fucking porn on that shit. And this shit is fucking live sometimes. Be able to tweet them. Suck his balls.
Yeah, man. I think people are overreacting just
You
a
know
little
what?
bit too
I'm
much.
glad that you said you put the ovary in overreacting. Y'all acting like bitches right now.
Dude. I mean, I don't know, man. A lot of people are just going completely left with this, man, with some of this
Like
information.
how do you
And
forget what you just had 4 months ago?
yeah, man.
How did that just slip
Yo,
your fucking mind?
that's what kills me about all this too, man, is the fact that, literally, man, like 2020 was probably one of the biggest years that they've had. You know what I'm saying? At least for like the PlayStation brand. You know what I'm saying? They've released a bunch of games for the PS4. They released a bunch of games for the PS5, both of them. And then even now, like hell, a lot of the games that released on launch, I haven't even gotten through all of them. And then on top of that, we have Returnal coming out and a couple other games in a
Can
few
y'all hit
months.
that like button, by the way? 'Cause
And
I
it's like,
just see some one person just hit the like button. Like, I mean, is it too much to ask?
yeah,
I'm just saying.
yeah,
Help!
it's just crazy. Man.
This channel guy.
Hit that like button. No,
Sometimes you know, because
but
you leave people to their own devices, and people, just don't do it. You know what I'm saying? So now we gotta ask. I mean, but you say, you say you didn't ask me to hit the like button. I mean, I'll support you and say, but you didn't ask me to subscribe, though. I mean, you didn't ask me to hit that like button, though. Anyway, right?
you know what I think it is, honestly, man. I honestly just think it's like this Twitter bubble. To be honest with you, bro. Like the fanboy stuff. Because really, outside of that, when you just look at what they've done, like what they've actually done, I mean, I don't really see why there's such an uproar for, like, for example, getting rid of Jim Ryan, signing a petition and all of that. I mean, dude, come on.
Yo,
Not only are
That's
we,
real. That's real talk, Dan. Like they really have a petition. If you didn't know, it's for real.
yeah, I saw it. I saw it. I saw it floating around on Twitter, you know? Um, but I mean, obviously I didn't pay it any mind because, I mean, like I said, if you just look at what they've done, because a lot of the stuff that people are talking about right now, a lot of it's not even like officially confirmed anyway. You know what I'm saying? And I know that there's information kind of pointing towards like certain things, which I know you're going to get into in a little bit. Um, but some of it's just getting completely like spun out of, just out of context.
out of
And
context
people,
or out of thin air sometimes even, you know.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, dude.
and
And then people just freaking forget.
the reason why it's even this big is because of the console wars. It is at a fever pitch right now. It is really high
Mhm.
right now when it comes to the console war shit. It's really high. The thing is, let's be honest here. I mean, we talk about a lot of Xbox and the foolishness, frivolity that they spew out on fucking Twitter.
Enough with all the frivolity, kid. I had to say it, bro.
I know. We got we got a lot of that shit, bullshit. But we have to call a spade in terms of the community. Um, it's really ridiculous what some of these PlayStation ponies be really doing, and I can't sit by and idly watch. I gotta call them out. I don't even know if some people are making any type of like playing any kind of games. You know what I mean? And some people are so into this echo chamber and so brainwashed that whatever the Metacritic says, which is it gets people in a lot of trouble. Whatever the Metacritic says, people are just they're playing games based off of the Metacritic, and then literally shits on anything else.
It's the dumbest thing ever, man.
It's like so stupid. Did you enjoy the game? Like for instance, Magnificent Black loves Outrider for some strange reason, but he loves the game. Um, and it doesn't have a decent Metacritic. But you ask him, and you would think that that shit's a 97 on a Metacritic, and that's not to discount you, Magnificent, at all. It's it doesn't make a difference. You know what I'm saying? I like Gravity Rush 1 and 2, and that shit was like an 80 on a Metacritic. I don't give a fuck. Shit, I like the
Which, by the
Getaway.
way,
I like the Getaway. That was a 70.
but which, by the way, man, I don't mean to cut you off, man, but a lot of people think that even for Metacritic, which I'm not a big advocate for Metacritic personally, um, but even something like an 80 is not a bad score. Like for some people, they think that if it's not like a high 80, 89, something like that, or in the 90s, it's just garbage. You know,
And
I'm just
also,
like,
why? Like, you have to remember as well, like, whose opinion are we taking? Like, you look at some of these dickhead reviewers, it's just like you're basing their review on your, you know what I'm saying? Because they've given it a 10. I don't really trust half of these reviewers' judgment anyway. I never have done. You look at some of these personalities and like GameSpot and things, they don't even play the video game and they review it. I don't understand.
Well, you know what? Touching on that,
Like
Dan,
KD Plague is terrible for that. She does not even play the game. She did it with Days Gone. She didn't even finish the game. So how does she review it? I don't
I bet you
understand.
that bitch is online talking about some Sony make a part 2, right? Silly
Dude, she
bitch.
was just like,
So
oh, she's trying to say
yo,
how sexist that game is. It's like, bro, how is that game sexist? Because
you know what's crazy? Like I was watching P Rock's thing the other day, man, and he actually brought that shit up. He was like, a lot of these journalists, man, they're just fraudulent, man, because he went back and he watched her review specifically, right? And a lot of the shit that she's saying now, like why Sony isn't greenlighting they and all that. This game was this that, and the third. It was a good game. Like none of that stuff was in her review, at all.
she slated that review for weeks after, or the whole for a long time. She was against that game, and now she's talking about why they're not making a new one.
no, because people are so into this fucking. I kid you. I tell you guys, and this is why I keep bringing up social justice warrior shit. This is why I keep bringing up the Naughty Dog situation. I keep bringing this shit up because as much as they bring up shit, I want to make sure that that shit is has a spotlight. I want to make sure that it has a spotlight. I mean, they gave fucking Cyberpunk tens. That is
Yeah,
all
bro.
to like seriously. Like you sit there, and you say that the console ones are bad, but when you play Cyberpunk on a PC, it's beautiful, right? Don't you know the difference between the consoles and the PC is fidelity and ray tracing? That's it. The AI for the police is not even programmed across the board. There is no NPC real routines. The mission structure is exactly the same. It just doesn't have as many bugs, but all of a sudden that game's a fucking 10. And you want to believe this shit along with these fucking corny ass award shows that our game can win 280 fucking awards? When you clearly see video after video after video on YouTube with people legitimizing their fucking their concerns with The Last of Us Part 2. And now the funny narrative is they're doubling down on The Last of Us. I thought y'all motherfuckers said it was a good game. You just couldn't have enough of it. You know, it's perfection. Now you want Days Gone? For real? Over The Last of Us? What we doing here? Because the media told you should have we should support little games. We should support other games. Sony should have more variety. I thought you said that Days Gone was a generic zombie game with corny fucking zombie names like Freaker and Reacher and Just Like Them, Clicker, and stuff like that with an ER on it. Nigger, I guess. I don't fucking know. So here's the thing. People say that Sony doesn't support AA games, right?
Which is a lie.
And yet we have Medieval Remake.
Kana. Not Kana.
Kana. Concrete Genie. It Takes Two. Who gave anything overrated can't be trusted? Like, what are we talking about here? What are we talking about? How about Umar don't make The Last of Us? How about just don't? Just not. I remember when they announced The Last of Us Part 2, they were like, why, Naughty Dog? Just make another game. The Last of Us Part 1 was perfection. It ended off perfectly.
Are we all in agreement that there is simply no need for a Last of Us remake? Because
absolutely, bro.
I'm
sorry.
I know why they're going to remake it. I said this on my podcast. The reasoning as to why they are going to remake it is one of two reasons. The first reason is to make sure that they have something to coincide with the HBO special.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Because the HBO special is following closely with The Last of Us 1. Right? But more importantly, The Last of Us Part 2 can't stand on its own, which was another argument I had. It cannot stand on its own. It has too much negative press, and the cells probably swine dove off of a fucking cliff. They can't use that one. Everybody bought The Last of Us Part 2 because of The Last of Us Part 1. That's why they bought it. It's called spade a spade. They didn't buy it because of what they saw in the trailers. They bought it to continue what one set up. That's why they bought it. So to disrespect Part 1 for your stupid little fucking beat me over the head with your toxic masculinity is bad agenda, it wasn't worth it in the end. And such, they can't use that game on its own. They need to have the first one. And of course, the funny thing is, going based off of the rumors from Jason Schreier, they gave that the visual arts team started to remake The Last of Us Part 1 on their own. And then pitched it to Sony, which Sony said, okay, I'll bite. But Sony doesn't take risks, right? And when they were taking too long with the fucking game and the money started to rack up because Sony only has a finite amount of money, and we're like, why is it taking so long? Well, you see, it's taking long because of the graphics needs to be good, and they were like, nah, you good, dude. I'll give it to Naughty Dog. And then they got pissed off and left. And I guarantee you, those people that were pissed off are the same niggas that went to Jason Schreier. And I guarantee you, the same people that left Naughty Dog when The Last of Us was fucking happening is the same motherfucking people that leaked that shit. There's no hacker. There's a beef.
Yeah, they're salty.
You know, I saw some other people bring up this point too, touching on the whole thing with not Jim, but Jason Schreier, um, in his article, and I know you touched on this in your video, and I believe in your podcast, you were talking about how their job is to like sensationalize everything. It's funny because when you look at the title of his video, it's named something like, what was it, the unrest of PlayStation or some shit like that.
I'm gonna pull it
Kind
up.
of in
Like really
yeah,
hyperbolic.
Yeah,
it's
something about there's trouble within the empire.
Like,
He's
why would you
yeah.
use the
trying to make
word empire?
a
Like,
big
why would you
bang
say
about
that?
it. Exactly.
And it's interesting because when
It's
you read that
sensationalism.
title, right? Yeah, dude. Like when you read that title, right, you think like, yo, there's something going on at PlayStation, like just in general. You know what I'm saying? Like their studios are going through turmoil, and the leadership is just like crazy, and just a lot of stuff that people aren't liking or whatever, right? But when you actually read the article, right, and it's like some of the details or whatever, they only bring up two studios.
And one of them wasn't even a full studio. One of them was just some ragtag team that tried to make their own group. The thing is,
Yeah.
there was a narrative that Jason Schreier is still trying to paint. He's been trying to paint it because you can't be wrong with being socially correct, right? Give these people freedom. Why do they have to crunch?
Yeah, I know. This nigga's always trying to paint a narrative,
He's
man.
always painting this crunch fucking narrative all the time. Because guess what? People could be like, damn, they working overtime and not getting paid. Nigga, salary. It's salary. You want to know something
Dude.
funny? You want to know something about crunch? See, when somebody's passionate about something, right?
You work extra hard.
You
I don't
work
understand.
on your own volition. You work extra
Yeah,
hard.
like-
You just do it because you want to make sure there's a quality involved, which means that crunch will always exist. You won't feel it if you are passionate about it, but on paper,
But
there's
that's not
crunch.
limited. For one, that's not limited to that. That's limited to anything in life.
Anything and like, could you
You
imagine,
want to be
right? Could
great
you,
at something. And what annoys me, so I'm sorry, I had to say this point. What annoys me, people that say, "Oh, you shouldn't be crunching." These same people that say that will then get annoyed if the game's delayed. It's like,
These
dude,
same people that complain about crunching are the same people that are typing on their iPhones, which is made by slave Chinese people. You the same ones, but let's not even take it there. Could you imagine a doctor
oh, is he? Yeah,
if he only
don't think
worked
doctor
if he only
fucking
worked 8
crunch.
hours? Excuse me, Doctor Cosby. We got one more person. He's been shot. Mm-mm.
I
I'm off
need
the
my
clock.
Jello pudding.
I'm off the clock, dude. But he's bleeding. Nah, I ain't trying to crunch. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Mm. Oh, so what you're gonna tell me? That's different. That's because he's a doctor and he's obligated to do it. Okay, that's what you're gonna say? Well, imagine a firefighter. And it's taking way longer to put out that fucking fire. But no one's in danger at the moment. No one's burning in the house. They already got them out. That's like the fucking firefighter. 8 o'clock? Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Nope. I gotta go home. My work-life balance, my nigga. Like, I'm not trying to do this shit. Could you imagine a world like this?
That's crazy.
It's just entertainment. Why you gotta make it so bad like that? They sound stupid like that. Every time I make that fucking voice, that's how they sound to me. The same
I'll be
people.
right back. I need to take a pee. Please continue.
Yeah. The same people that sit there and love Jackie Chan movies. Whatcha? Right? You love that shit. So good. So good. Do you know how hard they gotta fucking work and how early they have to train in life? Like 3-4 years old. What you want to say is crunch for them too? I mean, I like your movie. That's inhumane to do that. Why you going to they too young? They younglings. They don't need. Why you making these kids do splits when they this age? But you like their movie though. But you like their movie. When it comes to hard work and quality, there is there is there is results from the quality, for the hard work that they put in. The hard work
Have you ever heard
yields
of
quality.
the?
Yeah, go on.
Have you ever heard of the idea of the Amish vacation?
No.
That's pretty much what you're talking about, because the way that Amish people, what they do, right, is they have the way that they live, right. They have their work and their vacation basically interconnected. You know, the work that they do is essentially um, their vacation, because they integrate it into their life. You know, like they integrate their sleeping into their work schedule. That everything that they do is integrated. So it all comes from a place of, you know, this is something that I want to do with my life. So whenever they work, it doesn't really feel like work, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because it comes from of a place of passion, you know, and it's the same thing,
I
you know.
want
So
you
a
to,
lot of these people who,
I just
yeah,
want
go
to
ahead.
say this. I want you to understand this. If anyone has a wife, right? If you're a man and you have a wife or a spouse, I don't know. You may have a spouse with a pussy. I don't fucking know. But if you have a spouse, right? It takes time for you to please her. If you're talking about a traditional relationship, I could bust a nut in 2 minutes and be totally happy. I'm done. I could clean up. I could play my game. I don't need to worry about shit. That's it. Right? But I decide to hold that fucking nut when I'm fucking. And I have to stay with it for 45 minutes. That's crunch for me. I gotta work harder. I could have been done 40 minutes ago. Been done. But when you love
I
somebody
like the
and you want to make sure that you want to put some quality work into the shit, guess what? It don't even come as a second thought. You just do it.
You wanna, you wanna bust a good nut, you gotta give it some time.
I'm just saying.
I appreciate that.
I'm just saying. When you like something or have passion with it, you don't really feel the crunch that they supposedly talking about. And what this is coming from, if we can segue into the next topic, unless you have something to say, Ken, about the future of PlayStation. Well, yeah, let's ask you.
I mean, not really. I mean, outside of the other
Go
stuff, some of the
on.
other smaller news, just to kind of highlight a little bit about, you know, sort of contradicting what people are saying. Like a lot of people are saying that Sony is risk adverse and they don't want to, you know, invest into new IPs and stuff like that. And it's just like, well, obviously that's not the case because, you know, when you see games like whatever, like Kena, right? You see stuff like that. You see games like Sifu, and then you hear stuff about, you know, potentially Remedy working on a new exclusive IP for PS5. London Studios working on a new IP for the PS5, and then they just literally announced the other day an indie studio, right? Amidst all this bullcrap, right? That Sony doesn't want to support smaller studios, right? They just announced a new game, Abandoned, uh, from Blue Box Studios. Jade Raymond, all this shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like Sony doesn't want to take risks. Sony doesn't want to support the little guy. I don't know, man. I mean, just looking at the information and what they've actually done, you know, as opposed to all of this like Twitter outrage. I don't know, man. The results kind of tell me something different, you know.
It's really crazy, because there's a squeaky wheel minority people. To be honest with you, the problem is millennials and Gen Zs. That's the problem. They don't work for anything. They are super fucking entitled. And they expect things to happen immediately. They don't know what the fuck hard work is. And I'm speaking in a generalized. I want to preface the conversation and say that shit. And Abandon is a PS5 exclusive, which is indie. You know what people said about that indie game? What is it about? It don't look that good. Why you in the forest? We already had the medium with the forest. I don't know about that. Why, Sony? Why you keep showing us these little games? Why don't you make a big one? Okay, so they did. Why you big? Why you focusing on AAA story-driven titles? We want little ones again. I
It's so stupid. Like you bring it, kind of mention it. It's just so dumb, man.
you
You
know,
know,
because
like
everybody wants to be right. That's what it boils down to. They want to be right all the fucking time. So they pick these really broad stroke subjects. Slavery is
dude,
wrong. Working overtime is wrong. You should work only the time for your perfect work-life balance. Everybody should get equal. Everybody should get paid $15 an hour because that's the right thing to do. So you telling me if somebody can work for a place, I don't know, for about 3 years and make about $15, $16 an hour, and they got like a really important job over there. The fucking cook or the fucking janitor can make 15 fucking dollars an hour for just sweeping. That's what you get with these Generation Z's and millennials. That's what you get. These supposed good ideas that just fucking don't make any kind of sense logistically. It sounds good. It sounds good for everybody to get $1 million as soon as you're born. That sounds great. Realistically, where the fuck that money coming from? You want quality? Where the fuck is that coming from? You think that you gonna get quality for just working 2 days a week? That's what you think? People are fucking stupid. Anyway, segueing into...
you know, man.
Yeah, go on.
My bad. It's interesting, man, because I saw someone bring this up, and they were talking about the state of
Ooh.
play. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people, when Sony showed that state of play, they literally told everybody that it was going to be, you know, like don't expect nothing big, you know, because it wasn't. It was just going to be an update on some games that they had already showed and all that stuff, right? And when they showed it, everybody shit on it, bro. Everybody was. I mean, it was full of indie games, and personally, I thought quite a few of them looked great. You know, like Solar Ash looked cool to me. Sifu and some of those other ones. Kana, they had another trailer for that. But everybody hated the state of play for some reason, right? But then, you know, when information comes out that Sony is, you know, whatever, focusing mostly on AAA exclusive, whatever, big blockbuster games, all of a sudden people have a problem with it. You know, it's like, I don't know, man. What do you want? Make up your mind. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Do you want indie games? Do you want big games? I mean, dude, you can't just, you know, whatever, get a show like State of Play, right? Completely discredit it, right? And then come back when they have information saying that Sony's going to focus on big games, right? And then say that Sony doesn't want to help the little guy. That's stupid to me. Like, come on, man.
But everybody want to sit there and be fear. They want to fearmonger. You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm just nervous about what Sony is going to. Nervous for what? What are you nervous about? When did they fuck up? When? Nobody can tell me. Because they put games on PC. What? That's not a fuck up.
Yeah, that's that Twitter bubble, man.
Just tell me, Sony, when, Sony, when you gonna, just tell me if you're gonna release games day and day on the PC, so you just make this invalidate because this Xbox fanboy said that, we don't have no more exclusives and we in the same spot that they are because games are going day and day to the, just tell me, Sony, please, that you're gonna put it on PC. And I'll just be done with the PS. Like the most dramatic shit I've ever witnessed in my life. It's so extra.
And you know what's crazy,
They don't
man?
owe you shit. They don't owe you. Don't owe you shit.
You know what's crazy, man? A lot of this information that we've gotten recently, right? You know, that's quote unquote negative, right? Um, it's only really been like what, a month or two, or something like that, of information, and people are just losing their minds, like like Sony's dead, and Sony's just like,
Sony
I
hasn't
don't know, man.
responded
Like,
for 7 years. It's like, bro, it's been like
yeah,
3 weeks, 4 weeks. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, dude. I mean, 3 weeks of information, right?
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and then these dudes lose their minds, and it's like, you know, to some extent, whatever. I get it. You know, negative press is negative press, right? And whatever. Even to a certain extent, I can understand some people's concerns potentially, going forward with what Sony might be doing. We don't have enough information to kind of go off of that, um, but either way, regardless, people are taking this way out of context. People are losing their minds for no reason. And honestly, man, you know, what you were telling me earlier about what Jeff Ross said about the whole thing, about Sony not needing to respond and all that stuff. I don't know if you said that. I think I saw it online somewhere.
That's it
But
as well.
yeah, you know, Jeff Ross basically saying that Sony doesn't really need to respond. I mean, dude, what good would it do? You know,
You gotta, and we're gonna segue right into that shit about this Ben Studios speaks. Which, by the way, David Jaffe, the original creator of God of War, Twisted Metal, and the like, he interviewed him. So you got two ex Sony employees, and both of them are of high quality caliber, and one just left, and the other one left years ago. So you got two
They know what they're
sides.
talking about.
You got two sides of of Sony. You know what I'm saying? So here's the thing. We're gonna break down what the article says, that the Jason Schreier article, real quick. We're not gonna spend too much time on that. At least I don't want to spend too much time on it. It's not necessary. And then we're gonna talk about what he said and what he was able to confirm. And all the developers are in an NDA if they work for Sony and leave. Now, of course, you could be disgruntled and say stuff, but Sony has to, if Sony knows who you are that said it, they could sue you. And that's the thing. This is why they go to Jason Schreier, because they know that he's full of negativity, and that nigga will quickly block you.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you speak and not even ill to him, you can be like, "Yo, can you explain why he's saying something different?" "Oh, you don't have to believe me with your fanboy stuff." Block. The fuck? You know what I'm saying? That's how he is. I literally just saw it.
That's why I had to unfollow him, because he's a pussy, man.
Like, who just blocks you? Block like a straight bitch. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, he says
he acts
this.
like a fanboy himself.
What he is a person that is on. He's a what do you call it? What's the word I want to use? What's the phrase I want to use? He's like a he chases virtue. He's a virtue signaler. That's what he is.
Yeah, he is.
And he does this because you can't.
By the way, buy my book.
Yeah, buy my book. By the way, sign up for Bloomberg. It's only $1.99, and you'll be able to see the whole article. Why do you think he uses these sensational titles? So it can be so juicy and so good. He's the white Wendy Williams. That's who he is.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
You got a whole bunch of skeletons in your own closet, but you the one. Anyway, what he says is a couple of different things. He states that Sony's crusade on AAA titles is causing an uproar in the Sony empire. It's something of that nature, right? That's what he starts off with. He basically states that there was a small studio that wanted to be a bigger studio. So, they were kind of like a assistant studio, and they handled motion capture and whatnot. So this small studio of about 30, 35 people wanted to be on their own and be a studio. So, oh, shut up. He's a virtue fighter. Virtue Fighter 5. Um, um, so here's the thing, right? Oh yeah, by the way, Umar, within the PlayStation Culture podcast, I need to be able to send you this. You can DM me too. I need to be able to send you this $20 Amazon gift card. So anyway, so going back, and he says that basically the reason why Sony and Bloomberg, I think they said this thing a while ago that Sony was people were leaving Sony because Sony was focusing on AAA. Now understand this. I'll like say the points and I'll hit what I think of it. Sony has made buku dollars off of AAA games. They've gotten crazy notoriety from AAA games. Crazy notoriety. And basically, the tribe has spoken. Everybody wants AAA games to validate their purchase of a console. So, like anybody else, you know what I'm saying? That's like you having a wife. And you learn how to eat her ass out, right? Real good. And that's what you're known for, right? You're known, you're real good with that shit. And then all of a sudden, she talks about how shitty it is. Why you always gotta do this? I want something different because my girlfriend said that she has this thing going on. My girl,
Yo,
fuck cares.
yo, do you remember that movie? I
Going.
think. Yo, can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Yo, do you remember that movie? I think I love my wife.
I haven't seen. I know you're a movie buff. I haven't seen it.
Oh, you haven't seen it? Yeah, there was this one scene in the movie, man, where he was arguing with his wife because he wanted to see this chick, right, in the movie, and he was like, you made chicken again? He's like, I'm tired of chicken. I don't want chicken. I'm tired of that shit. And then you know, because he came up with a reason to leave the house, right, to go see her. So he was just like trying to come up with some bullshit to argue with her with. And then when he left the house, he was like, I'm out of here. And she was like, where you going? He's like, I'm like to get some duck. It's like,
This is how it is, man. They already carved themselves based off of what their fan base told them to, make. They were making indie games like Loco Roco and all this other shit, and nobody really wanted it. So they tried their luck on making some bombastic games, and people ate the shit up. And so they doubled down on it because that's where they were getting the money from. Like any other fucking company, they see the money and they chase it. All of a sudden, now it's a problem, right? But anyway, going back to that studio, I'm starting to get lost in my own shit. Going back to the studio, 35 people, they kind of were a supportive team, and they wanted to make their own thing. So they, on their own, started to create. They started to take The Last of Us and remake it, according to this article. Then they pitched it to Sony. Sony saying, "I'll bite." We already have an HBO special coming out. All right, I'll do it. And then after a while, it still wasn't fucking done. So Sony was like, "Well, what's good with this? Why is it not done?" And they didn't have a valid reason, so they basically took it from them and gave it to Naughty Dog since it belonged to them. Now I'm gonna pause there, rewind back to that article saying that 70% of the people at Naughty Dog left because they were unhappy and all this other stuff, which corroborates with the leak and everything else. But nobody wanted to believe this particular article. They also said that Sony didn't want to invest in Japanese studios. They wanted to turn away from Japanese studios. But like any company, if you're not making money, they're not going to follow it. It's like that McRib. That McRib, they created that decades ago. Nobody really wanted the shit, so they decommissioned it. Why would they continue to put resources in that McRib, McDonald's? Then they were like, well, let me see. Let's dig in our old patents and see if anybody likes this shit. So they went in their old patents and did it. and said, the McRib is back for all you niggas. We know how you like ribs. Order it today at McDonald's. And people ate that shit and was like, that's really not that good, to be honest with you. And so it's going to be out of commission again. The bottom line is that no company is going to follow stuff that don't make them money. And you can't, it's not a charity. They make something and they're expecting a return, period, point blank. Some of the bad news came out and they said that the PlayStation Store was closed down and people were in an outrage and they haven't even logged into their PS5 for like almost 10 years, or PS3 almost 10 years. What are you fucking upset about? I wanted to get that one game that Reset Era was talking about. They said it was good, and now you closing it. I wanted. I just so, and then on top of it, like Umar said, they've been making deals. How the fuck you think fucking Death Stranding was created? What about Final Fantasy? What about the fucking the Project Atheo and shit like that? Which is, what is it called again for Spoken?
For Spoken, yeah.
What are those? What are those? Like what? Like I don't understand. You just read something, you just fly off the handle. You talking about knee-jerk reaction? This is the ultimate knee-jerk reaction. So anyway, going back to this fucking article. So when Sony pulled it from this ragtag team, they disbanded and quit, which I think that's where the source is coming from. That's why it was so accurate, right? He goes on to say about Ben Studios having to help Naughty Dog because 70% of the fucking people left, which is why we don't have the multiplayer for The Last of Us Part 2. Not that it was so huge, but these niggas left. We already seen clips of this fucking shit, and it looked like ass. The Last of Us Part 2 multiplayer. It was glitchy, it was buggy, and it looked like the same thing that we got 8 years ago. What big multiplayer change are you talking about? So now they open their mouth and sit to the shit, and they probably commissioned Ben Studios, because Ben Studios, with this developer, which his name is Jeff Ross, he stated that they were already making a multiplayer game. I mean, a co-op game for Death Stranding 2, or for the first Death Stranding. But it was left on the cutting room floor because they had to get the game finished. And that's part of the pitch that they would have for Days Gone 2. By the way, is to automatically have to co-op for that shit. So they commissioned them to do that. They probably needed help because Sony just gave The Last of Us Part 1 to them because they probably saw how shitty The Last of Us 2 dropped off in sales and just the reception of it all. You know what I'm saying? This is why you see Naughty Dog constantly talk about how many awards they have instead of how many sales they made. That's why you see that weird ass fucking narrative. So he goes on to say that Ben Studios is afraid of being absorbed into Naughty Dog, being called Naughty Dog North, which has happened in the past. Guerrilla Games, I believe they had the people. Who was the people that was combined with Guerrilla Games?
Hmm?
I can't remember.
There was a group of people that was combined with Guerrilla Games, and then it was like Guerrilla Cambridge. I think it was Cambridge.
Guerrilla Cambridge in the UK, yeah.
Right, and they combined them. That shit happens. Yeah. So maybe it was, maybe it was like that at the end of the day. Oregon and fucking California, I don't know how close they are, but it ain't like it's over fucking seas, whatever the case is. Either way, they were probably helping out Naughty Dog so much, right, that they were referred to, you might as well be our sidekick or our side, our partner in crime. And the people who left or had concerns with it was probably like, yo, I don't like the fucking culture. Remember, Ben Studios, before they made Days Gone, was 45 people. Just 45 people. And they went from 45 people to 180, according to Jeff. So they didn't want the culture of the studio to be like disturbed, which it ultimately was, and he talks about that as well. So apparently they pitched Days Gone 2 and it was canceled. And canceled and being your pitch being rejected are two different things, right? Typically, people work on their sequel and then give a little bit of a slice to your publisher to see if they want to allow you to finish it. And if they don't, you just put it on pause or you don't finish it. That's how it works. So altogether, the accusations was this: um, Sony doesn't want to work with little developers anymore, which we already disproven, right? Uh, the second thing was there was a studio that tried to do their own thing, which wasn't really their own thing. They were trying to make a game that was already recreated, and it was ripped from them because it didn't really have any value, and give it to Naughty Dog, which they themselves disbanded and left Sony. Then they said that Ben Studios, because there's a fetish with Sony, right? That they wanted with Naughty Dog, they wanted to make them into another Naughty Dog. That was a lie. They were just helping. Fucking Santa Monica Studios was helping fucking Guerrilla Games, and it was helping other people as well. Santa Monica Studios was helping mad people. That doesn't mean that they were going to be absorbed. Mm-hmm. They may have said that as a joke, and that's what Jason.
They're just pulling resources, dude. There's one big company, so they're just going to pull resources.
I think people kind of forget.
They forget a lot of shit. No one does research anymore. They just want to see a headline. They want something instantaneous, so they don't want to read all that shit. They just want something quick. What happens in this particular case is like, okay, so they don't even, like, it's so stupid. They don't even want to get the meat and potatoes of the shit. They don't. That's the thing. They just want something real quick and dirty and just cry about it. You know what I'm saying? So Jason Schreier said that shit too. I just spoke to a Naughty Dog developer, and even they said that, half jokingly. How do we know half jokingly? You interpret what they saying as half jokingly. Maybe they were completely joking about the shit because they were being such a good supporter. You know what I'm saying? That they were going to be Naughty Dog North. You know what I mean? They could have been like, shit, they might as well call that. They say that me and Ken look alike. Y'all might as well be brothers. That don't mean we fucking brothers. Like,
as far as we know.
As far as we know, right? So the thing is, he deliberately is taking things out of context to fuel his fucking job, essentially. That's what he's doing. He's not lying necessarily. He's taking things out of context deliberately because he knows how volatile the media is at the moment. And they thirst off of negativity. That's what they do. Danny says
and
that,
yeah. It's interesting too when you like you said, sensationalize something like that, right? And then you get pushback from people who are actually looking at the details for it, like you or like any of us, right? And then you come back and you say, basically what he said on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? I don't like it when gamers, whatever, they put, basically paraphrasing, they give so much negativity towards whatever the information that he introduced or whatever, It's like, what do you expect? Like if you make a sensational, article like that, right? Basically highlighting that Sony is in some kind of, like, Sony and their studios, all of their studios, because he said empire, that they're in some kind of turmoil.
He used all of these colorful words like turmoil and empire and uproar and all of these fucking adjectives that was over, like it was hyperbolic wording.
Super hyperbolic, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like you couldn't even get any more outrageous than what he was saying. And it's the same thing happened with Naughty Dog. We believe that we created a very divisive game, and some people are not going to like it. It's going to split the fan base. And then when it happened, fucking shocked Pikachu face. Why are you being so negative? I just wanted to create a game, and you just,
exactly.
Like you did it yourself. You did it.
That's exactly what it feels like is happening. You know what I'm saying? You make a freaking bold statement like that, right? And then on top of that, in your article, you only mentioned 2 studios. Yeah. And then you complain about the negativity that you get back from it. It's like,
it's ridiculous.
Don't make, yeah. You know what I'm saying?
What we're
And
talking
I'm not
about.
even advocating.
What we're talking about, Rome
You
Rush,
said what?
is Ben. What Ben is at the moment. We're talking about what Ben said, basically, right? What they've been saying, and how it contrasts with what Jason Schreier says, and we're just kind of consolidating. I'm going to get into what Ben Studio said. Jeff Ross, which is the ex fucking producer of Days Gone, and has been there for like 20 years. So I'll start from the top again. Jason Schreier stated that Sony doesn't want to help out with AAA games anymore. I mean, AA games anymore. They deliberately cut the funding of a small studio that was trying to build themselves from the ground up. He basically stated that due to the infatuation with Naughty Dog and Sony, that they were going to basically take Ben Studios and absorb them into Naughty Dog, because 70% of Naughty Dog left due to whatever was going on, right? And I know Schreier's a liar, and
One second,
basically
man.
they're not making a Days Gone Part 2 because it had poor reception. So let's
Yeah,
talk
what's
about
good? What's good, Rum Rush?
so let's talk about what Jeff Ross said. For the sake of time, we're going to consolidate this shit. Number one, Jeff Ross basically stated that it is not that deep. Sony's a wonderful place to work for. Um, Now, it's a wonderful place to work for that still has a certain amount of freedom. Now, it's probably the most freedom that you're going to get through a publisher. And the reason why they don't have as much freedom as they used to. Back in the PlayStation 1 days, games cost $1 million to make. Just a million. Days Gone cost 180 million. So they have to make sure, because Sony doesn't have deep pockets like Microsoft, that the shit that they put out isn't gonna make them like lose money. So they gotta be very careful about that shit. You know what I'm saying? And let's be honest here. Days Gone was released very buggy, and it had real problems, which Dan could attest to. Dan wasn't the only person that had issues with fucking Days Gone. He was more stringent than some people, like myself. But all of the shit that he said with Days Gone was fucking valid. And Jeff Ross knows about that shit too. They had like 3 or 4 patches in the first like week, I think, of Days Gone. Some crazy number. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have that much faith in it because the Metacritic was off of the embargo about a day before the release, something like that, 2 days before the release, something crazy. The other thing he says that the article wasn't really about Ben Studios; it was about Sony as a whole. We were only a blip in that studio, and in terms of like the visual arts, the development team, they were making a remake. And Sony, because Sony does take risks, they allowed for it to happen, but it was taking too long and too much money. In terms of them being absorbed into Naughty Dog, because 70% of the people left for whatever grievance they had within Naughty Dog, they called upon Ben Studios, because Ben Studios was making a very similar game to what Naughty Dog was making. And they were asked to help Naughty Dog fill in the fucking gap whilst still completing their game. Now, when they pitched Days Gone, which it sounds like they were making it already because they assumed that Sony was going to allow it, it's just that Sony, when they pitched it back in 2019, remember, the fucking game came out in 2019, and then it was released with mid results. And they were going to say, can we make a part 2? No, you can't. No, not right now. We got bigger fish to fry right now. Mad people left Naughty Dog. And then their game got fucking leaked. Can you help these niggas, please? Thank you. Please and thank you. Don't worry about the Days Gone right now. Oh, and by the way, Ben Studios, we took this project off of these people because they were taking mad long. Since you're already working with Naughty Dog anyway, can you finish that? So people were like, Sony, Ben Studios was like, nah, Sony, I don't want to do this. I want to do my own shit. And guess what Sony did? Surprise. They gave them a brand new fucking IP, and you want to know what something? You want to know something else? How do we know that the new IP isn't better than Days Gone?
That's the other thing too, bro. Like a lot of people are so hyper focused on what's going on with Days Gone, right? And when the game launched, it launched with like super mid reception, man. You know, I enjoyed the game personally, but I mean, Metacritic and all that stuff, right? Critical, whatever, critical
Acclaim.
reception, right? And and then now all of a sudden people are are like, yo, what's going on with Days Gone? We want a sequel. We want a sequel. We want a sequel, right? And I understand it. Like me personally, I would love to have a sequel for it. Um, and I think
They
potentially
didn't
that
want a sequel, Ken.
I
They said
know,
it
like
was mid.
overall, yeah. Like overall, there were a lot of people who were kind of like just saying the game was mid, right? And then all of a sudden, they all of a sudden they want a sequel, right? But then, like, I'm over here, I'm like, dude, they just announced that Bend is going to be working on their new, like a new whatever IP franchise. Like what makes you think that, like you said, that it couldn't be better? Like people are so hyper focused on what's going on with Days Gone, even though they didn't like the game in the first place.
That's how brainwashed
Um,
people. That's how
yeah.
brainwashed people are. We're gonna ask Dan because we know he's in a different time zone. I want to ask Dan some things too, since he's up to speed with what's going on. But I want you to be aware that Sucker Punch, the people who made Cy Cooper, Infamous, and Ghost of Tsushima. Before they made Ghost of Tsushima, you do realize they pitched the idea to Sony that looked a hell of a lot like Assassin's Creed. And guess what happened to that game? It was rejected. Guess what they made after that? Ghost of Tsushima, which was a much better game than the game that they were making. We don't know if the game that they're making a new IP is better than Days Gone because there was a lot of work that needed to be ironed out with Days Gone. So a lot of story issues. Dan, since you're up to speed, what you gotta say about all this? Your floor is yours, man. The
So I don't
power
even
is
know, bro.
yours.
You guys covered pretty much most of it with the Ben stuff.
No,
Like, I
we just
don't
want to
really
know
know.
your thoughts, how you feel about it.
Uh, where should I think? I'll just get lost in the sauce then. Um, my thoughts on it, like I said before, again on in the earlier talk, it's all overblown. The Sony bend issues is just 1 second. The Sony bend issues is simply this: is just, dude. I don't know how to say it any further, bro. Like, to be honest with you, like, there's not much more to add to it. Like, for me, it's overblown. Like, just the studio is the studio. It is what it is. They didn't want to be pushed into a corner of having to make something they didn't want to make. They're now being allowed to make a game that they want to make, which they should be able to make. And I don't know what else to say on that point. I'll be honest with you. Like the bench situation is not a big deal to me. Like at the end of the day, bro, like they had a chance to make their own game, which they did, which was Days Gone. People had their points on it. I have my views on it. My views still stood. I think it's a decent game. I think when it launched, it had its issues, but credit to Ben, they went back. They fixed their issues. The 60 FPS upgrade for the PS5 is great as well. Um, it just makes me laugh though because like in anything especially in the games industry, it's all about the media narrative. If the media wants to bring down a game, they will fucking bring down a game or try to anyway.
You're
And
so
Days
right.
Gone was one of those
You're so
one of
right.
those targeted games because it makes no sense. The fucking media dick sucking that Cyberpunk got. Cyberpunk is a fucking disaster.
It really
Yeah,
is. It really is.
this is called it what it is.
That listen, Dan.
It's
The
it's
game is a
That is an
disaster.
understatement. That is an understatement on how
But
disastrous that game is.
this is what pisses me off. It's because people want to dick suck CD Project, and it's just like, bro, Days Gone fucked up. They fucked up. They fucking patched that shit in a week. Let's keep it real. But they had that they had that shit sorted, and it wasn't even as bad. the bugs was nowhere near as terrible as Cyberpunk's bugs. But that's neither here or there. They fixed that shit and they made it work. And not only have they made it work, they've made it better and better and better. And that's coming from Bend. Bend didn't have the same pedigree as what CD Projekt had. But because it doesn't fit the narrative, it doesn't fit
or
the
budget.
narrative of
I don't even think the budget they had.
dude, they didn't have the budget, they didn't have the team, they didn't have the experience. But you know what? It doesn't fit the narrative because they wanted to have the narrative of, oh, but it's CD
Shut your
Projekt.
ass up, Lawrence.
CD bullshit, bro. It's fucking bullshit.
Yeah, I wanted to add something to that too. And I think Josh mentioned this earlier too, man. Two different things. One, touching on the whole thing about Ben getting absorbed into Naughty Dog. Like a lot of people, like this shit is so blown out of proportion. Like I don't see that as a bad thing, you know, because it's happened before. Like you mentioned earlier, you know, like Sony studios work with each other, and it should be that way. You know what I'm saying? It should be, you know, like whatever. If you have this studio that needs help here, or if you have a piece of knowledge or information that you can share,
how it should work.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like how do you get a game to run at 60 frames ray tracing? You know what I'm saying? Maybe Insomniac knows how to do that.
And also,
You know what I'm
if it doesn't work like that, if it's not going to work like that, then can I just say something? What's the point of PlayStation owning these studios? I don't get it.
They've been said
Like-
this in the past that the studios work with each other and they compete with each other.
But that's the whole. But that's the whole point, though. That's the why. What's the point of being under one umbrella if you're not going to be sharing information and things like that?
Right.
They've been doing this.
This is nothing
Even
new.
in the PS2 area, in the PS2 era, Naughty Dog,
Insomniac.
all them motherfuckers were sharing the same information, bro. That's why Jack and Dexter and Ratchet and Clank and thing they weren't the same games as all Sly Cooper. They wasn't the same games, but you can clearly see
there was
they were
the
getting
engines
advice and
stuff
information
like
from
that.
each other.
Right. And I'm gonna tell you this, right? It's all about framing. What Jason Schreier lists in his book or article that you have to pay for, right, is business as usual. I mentioned this in my podcast yesterday. It's all about framing. You want to know something? Let me frame Microsoft real quick. Let's do it positively. Microsoft cares about the legacy that they've created by allowing their fan base to play the plethora of games over the generations that Xbox existed. Or you can frame it like this: Microsoft is stagnant in in their platform. They don't they don't future proof their platform. They have made nothing in the future, and they focus too much on backwards compatibility. Both of those things are accurate. It's all with the framing. It's all with the framing. Shit, let me frame this. Okay, I have a 12-inch cock, right? And I be busting bitches pussy. Tear that shit up, right? Or that motherfucker can't move that well. You know what I'm saying? And he hurts. Shit hurts. That was not pleasurable. It's all flame. It's all like framing. You can frame anything to be negative or positive. And what Jason Schreier did is frame that shit negatively because he knows that negativity sells. That's what he did. You know, as David Jaffe mentioned, he gets in. I like what you just sent me, Dan. He gets into his knickers in a twist because people are calling him the fuck out. Like, why are you mad for? We just was talking about that shit, and you just posted it. I didn't even know he said that shit. I had no idea.
Yeah, I just saw it. I had to send it to you.
It's so crazy that this is the shit that we're dealing with right now. You know what I'm saying? And this is in an age of people that don't fucking do research. Remember when this pandemic started? You remember they said that coronavirus wasn't a virus at all? It was 5G.
Yeah,
remember that shit?
It's that 5G.
They saw one person say that shit. Don't be fooled. It's these 5G antennas that's making people sick with fevers. They try to get us, the government. and that narrative changed
Bill Gates
immediately.
trying to track us.
Well, he is, but the narrative completely changed to wear a mask. Damn it, wear a mask. My grandmom. Do you want to kill her? Wear a damn
Yo, Josh.
mask. So funny.
Yo, what about that? What about that stuff you were telling me the other day, man? About like when games get proposed, and you were talking about the Uncharted and all that. Like, I didn't even know that shit. Like, to be honest with you, because a lot of people are taking that out of context too. You know, when they're saying that, like when Jason Schreier said that the Days Gone 2 proposal was rejected, right? Everybody was like, "Oh, you know, Days Gone 2 is canceled," right? Just completely out of left field. Like, yo, hold up. That's not what he said. You know,
Didn't.
he said it was
Definitely
rejected.
didn't. He said that
Yeah,
he
and
said
then
the
That
pitch,
shit never got
the
started.
pitch was
Yeah.
rejected, and people just ran with calling it whatever the fuck they want to call it, right? The pitch was rejected. Guess what? Naughty Dog didn't want to make another Jack and Dexter. Sony asked them to make it, and Naughty Dog said, "I'm not feeling it. I want to make something else." So Sony said, "What you got?" So they made a game that was Uncharted, but it looked like the art style was almost exactly to the T of like the Emperor's New Groove. Heavily stylized. So they said, "Listen, we want to have something like Indiana Jones. He has these pistols, blah, blah, blah. Boom, 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 boom. Here you go." Right? Sony was like, nah. No. Naughty Dog was like, "Why not?" Because we want to promote the cell processor and how powerful it is. And how it can make realistic fucking reality engine. This is a fucking cartoon game. Go make it more realistic. Make it as realistic as you can get it to make people aware that the PlayStation 3 is really powerful. That's what we want to focus on because the narrative is that it's weaker than the 360. We cannot have cartoony games. Naughty Dog went back and then came back to Sony with the actual Uncharted that we see. And Sony put they put the stamp on it. You got it. That's what we wanted. The same thing happened with we already talked about Ghost of Tsushima. They were making like a what do you call it? Assassin's Creed pirate game. It looked like Assassin's Creed Unity actually.
My
What
bro,
was it?
sorry guys, real quick. I need to dip out because I need to wake up in like 4 hours.
Oh yeah, man. Yo, take care,
Yeah.
man.
So I'm a go. But guys, thanks for tuning in, man. Stay locked because these guys are deep into some great discussions, man. It was very interesting topics, guys. But yeah, I'll catch you guys tomorrow, man. I'll holler you guys separately tomorrow. Yeah.
All right, man.
Nice one, bros.
All right,
See ya.
man. Peace. All right. Good night.
What were you gonna say?
No, I was trying to remember the name of that game.
Oh, the Assassin's Creed thing that they were making.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was called.
There's footage of it too, and it was very well done.
Yeah, it was. It was nice. I thought it looked pretty cool.
You know, but it was too close to Assassin's Creed. Sony was like, "Nah, man. They're gonna think that this shit is an Assassin's Creed cop out. We need something more original than this." And so, Sucker Punch repurposed that engine and made Ghost of Tsushima, and said, "Listen, we want to make a samurai game." And they was like, "Word," and it was like, "Yeah, what does it look like?" You know, and they showed them. And the funny thing is about game development is that game development is not a linear experience where you just make something, you think about something and you make it. Sometimes you can think of something. This goes with any creative field. Sometimes you can make something or think of something and then try to make it and it doesn't look or sound or play well at all. Like the idea, concept is good, but in action is ass. That can happen a lot.
And you even mentioned The Last of Us as well, man.
The Last of Us
You
was
know?
another game that they pitched out there, and Sony said, no, not right now.
Yeah, man. And look at that shit now. You know what I'm saying? The Last of Us Part 1 was one of the most successful games like just ever, popular ever in video games, you know, at this point. And The Last of Us Part 2 was another big talking point, And now they're talking about remaking the first one. Obviously it's a big game, but look at where it came. Look at where it came from. You know what I'm saying? So all these people who were out here like talking about, it's over for Days Gone and this, that, and the third and all that. It's like, dude, that's really not the case, man.
People posting this shit online. And remember, Ken, cut me off when you need to. I'm talking to this shit, but like, there's still people online that keep saying that it's over for Days Gone 2, where it's on hold. That's what's happening, so they can help out Naughty Dog.
Yep. And you know what? To be honest with you, man, like for example, right, coming into what was it, the PS4 generation, right? They did The Last of Us at the end of the PS3, and Naughty Dog, right? And then they did Uncharted 4 coming into the PS4 generation, and then they went back to The Last of Us. I don't see the problem with, say, Bend coming from Days Gone, letting that sit for a little while, let them figure out what they're going to do with it, go through all of the phases that they have to whatever, get the shit approved by Sony. In the meantime, working on a new IP. You know what I'm saying? So you have Days Gone, you have that new IP that comes out next, and then potentially Days Gone 2. Somewhere down the line. There's nothing wrong with that, man. I think people are just overreacting. I think that's really what it comes down to, ultimately.
It is. And just to touch upon the whole just to touch upon what's going on with Bitten Studios, people forgot, and he also confirmed this too. Everybody want to say that Days Gone is not successful. Days Gone has sold more than all of their titles that they've ever made combined, which is somewhere north of 7 million. So the last thing I want to talk about, what it came to, the Ben Studios developer talking, is everybody wants to spread this narrative with Game Pass, right? He says that Game Pass model could be really good once you hit that saturation where no one's really buying your game again and nobody wants to invest in buying a game. And you may not have anything else to play, so you jump into, PlayStation Plus to try it out. But he says he does not know.
Was that from Jeff Ross?
Jeff Ross said.
Or David Jaffe?
Jeff Ross said this.
Okay.
David Jaffe was trying to push that whole narrative of, Game Pass as being the way of the future. And Jeff Ross was like, it's a good supplement, because those numbers and the money that you get through PlayStation Plus is still money that you get from people downloading that shit. I don't know how it works logistically, but he states and confirms that you get money from people downloading that shit. So that's probably a part of the clause or contractual obligations within that PlayStation Plus. I would imagine. Be that as it may, he says he's not sure if a game natively came day and date, how much money they would make. And then that kind of shut David Jaffe down in that case, because if a game costs 180 million or 200 million, are they going to really make their money back? And I asked you this question as well. This people don't understand. If the Game Pass model was so good, how come Rockstar ain't doing it? People are buying them shark cards like motherfucker, but they still don't want their game day and date on any service, period. They don't even want to create their own, because that opens up a weird fucking narrative. They sold how many? 30 million games. Even if they were all $30 a fucking pop, yo. Multiply $30 times 30 million.
A lot of money.
Why the fuck would you put that shit day and date? I don't give a fuck how many shark cards you got. Doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make financial sense. Yep. Doesn't make any financial sense whatsoever, man.
That's why it doesn't work. Now, if you want to make little games, cool. It did wonders for Fall Guys. If Fall Guys cost $10, people were like, that's cute, whatever. But it was free, and it was at a time where it was a little bit dry, and people was like, oh shit, this is pretty fucking fun, and it literally was doing so well. Fall Guys is like the perfect game for these Gen Zs and younger. They like that game Among Us, which is like a 2D game, and that game is fucking doing. I can't even fathom the amount of money that game does. Little to no effort
You know,
in the development for that.
it's funny, man. Like the way that I heard people talk about Among Us, man, you would think that it's like this big, like massive, like AAA, just crazy experience, right? And because I didn't really know, I hadn't followed the game at all, but I heard people talking about it. And then when I looked at it, I'm like, yo, this is the game. This is the game that everybody's talking about. This little 2D, like weird bean looking things. I don't know. It's just weird.
Teletubbies.
Yeah, Teletubby looking things. Yeah, man. But it's popular though, man. People love it, man.
That's mad sus. You know, I mean, I do my research when it comes to this shit. So basically, that's all I have for the Ben Studio situation. It really isn't much. It's business as usual, honestly. Speaking of Game Pass, though, it's
Perfect
a nice
segue. Yep.
Take it away, man.
Perfect segue into the next topic, which is Sony's counterpunch to Game Pass. I actually think this is a pretty interesting topic, to be honest with you. And the reason why is because, in a way, I kind of feel like, at least with some of the information and some of the rumors that are going around, Sony potentially putting PS Now and PS Plus together, and whatever, maybe adding their movies into a service, whatever, to counter Game Pass. To me, it kind of, in a way, sort of
Well, you gotta tell them.
makes sense.
You gotta tell them what's going on.
Yeah, like for example, a lot of the information that we've been getting lately, right? So I think it was 2019 or 2019 that Sony officially announced that they were doing PlayStation Productions, right? Where they were going to start making movie IPs out of their game IPs, right? And then just recently, we got a lot of information talking about, whatever, like them shutting down the store, them acquiring Crunchyroll for anime, and all of that stuff, right? And then we even got some more information just the other day about how they're trying to also not only more so bolster their mobile division. They want to make their big IPs into whatever, into mobile games, adaptations or whatever. I don't know exactly how they want to do it. But to me, it almost seems like what they're trying to do is to consolidate some of this stuff into a service that would be compelling against Game Pass. A service where you could potentially, have access not only to, like, say for example, like PS Plus, right? PS Plus, we literally just got Oddworld that dropped day and date on PS Plus just a few days ago. And then a few months ago, we got Destruction All Stars. They're not big, they're not huge games, but they dropped day and date on PS Plus, And then on top of that, imagine, because also not too long ago, we also got that patent about Sony working on emulation for legacy backwards compatibility.
I want to clear that
So
up.
I don't know how
the legacy backwards compatibility thing is not a new patent, but go on.
But yeah, you get what I'm saying.
No,
though.
but I want to clear that up.
Like some people
just let that ride, and people think that shit. You know what I'm saying? I want to be accurate as possible.
So to me, I see the information, right? And a lot of people are saying that Sony doesn't really have like an answer to backwards compatibility, right? Legacy backwards compatibility. And they're talking about like how Sony closed down the store, the PlayStation 3, Vita, and PSP store, that they don't care about game preservation and all of that stuff. In my opinion, I think everything that they're trying to do with that, I think they're trying to basically come up with a service to where they can not only have, say, potentially, and this is just me, I'm not saying, that anybody else has to believe this, but I think what they're going to do is they're going to do something like merge PS Plus, PS Now into one service, and then find a solution to backwards compatibility, legacy backwards compatibility, one PS1, 2, 3, and well, we already have 4 on the PS5. But not only that, start implementing things like their movie IP, you know, because they're doing this whole thing with PlayStation Productions. Ghost of Tsushima, that they just announced that the whatever, the Last of Us HBO series, which I know it's dropping there for now because they don't have the infrastructure built just yet. But imagine like if you had a new movie, like say Uncharted, the new Uncharted movie, drop day and date in Sony service, right? Last of Us series drop day and date. But not only that, you get access to all these games, right? Which also, not too long ago, Sony did a partnership with Microsoft with their Azure cloud to start building infrastructure for their cloud, the cloud aspect of what they're trying to do, right? Remote play and playing games mobile and all that shit. To me, it just makes sense, that they're trying to make a service to where they consolidated all of this information. All of these different sort of divisions into one service where the IP is leading the pack, and then on top of that, you get day and date drops like Oddworld, Destruction All Stars, coupled with their big releases, like their big regular buster releases, right? Separate, still regular priced. Like think about the type of dynamic that you could have there, man. I think that would definitely be a competitor to Game Pass. Not necessarily in the same sense, but I kind of look at it like Sony's own Disney Plus, essentially, but with games, with video games. And honestly, bro, in my opinion, I think something like that would be massively successful. Like Disney Plus just cracked 100 million subscribers. I know you mentioned something about it earlier. There were some people dropping off, but they hit a crazy number.
So
Crazy.
let me ask you this, right? Let's consolidate what you just said. I'm going to talk about the Disney Plus situation. Oh, Devil Shooter, what's going on? PS4 had emulated and never released to the public, so it won't happen the way that people want it. So day and date drops with smaller games. Big games should be left later on. Let them sell. They're big numbers. I was going to say that too, and I think I mentioned that like 2 months ago as of my belief as to what's going to happen, Umar. So the reason why they're not going to do it like that, Devil Shooter, is because the emulator isn't perfect. And on top of it, when you release a game on PlayStation Store, you got to fucking pay people, and those people may not exist anymore. Those developers and publishers may not exist anymore. The people who used to do Red Faction does not exist anymore. So where does the money go? So now Sony has to spend money to chase the people to give them their money. Even if it was contractually fine, then there's extra work that needs to be done. So
yeah, with the licensing and all that shit.
With the licensing. So that being said, let me address this really quickly so I won't lose my train of thought. Disney Plus, let me see here. Let me see what he says. Even their movies aren't day and date on Netflix. Licensing fees, okay. Yep. So Disney Plus, right? Is being handed out like candy at T-Mobile and I believe Verizon or AT&T, one of the places, right? So when you get a plan from them, Disney Plus comes with it. Also, Disney Plus comes with Verizon Files as well. So that's why their numbers are crazy. To be clear.
Kind of like what they're doing with Game Pass.
Yes.
the what did people call it? The $1 or something.
Listen, I keep telling people, man, I found a condom with Day Pass on that, or Game Pass on that bitch. And the fries went. I was like,
Yo, like Umar just said, yeah, I doubt their big games will be on PS Now or PS Plus day one. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna be the case, honestly, man. I
listen,
mean, and this,
it won't be the case. And I want to say this.
yeah,
So I want to ask you a question, Ken, just so
what's up?
we keep focused. When you say that the counterpunch to Game Pass, what exactly? Just not a story. Just give me the contents. What do you think it would be to make a counterpunch for Game Pass? What do you think that will be comprised of?
Um, I think, I think it would be comprised of, um, putting, like I said, having PS Plus or PS Now together as far as the gaming aspect of it, as well as, like I said, having like their movie IP and some of that aspect, like the PlayStation productions and all that shit, all into one service. So I don't necessarily think that when they say counterpunch to Game Pass, I don't think it's going to be like a direct competitor to Game Pass. More so like Sony's own adaptation of um, of a service that could like sort of take away attention from Game Pass, essentially. You know, which like right now Game Pass's biggest uh, uh, like appeal
It's day and
is
date.
getting games day and date. Yeah, day
So,
and date
but they never
and value.
they never specified what games are going to be day and date. They just said games published by Microsoft is going to be day and date, and that's disingenuous to say something like that because what games are we talking about? Are they going to be AAA or are they going to be like 4 hour games, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the whole thing.
Yeah. So,
People are under the impression, and Microsoft is going based off of the impression, your own assumptions, that you're just going to assume that it's going to be AAA 30-hour games that's going to go day and date the Game Pass. Even if you get Skyrim and Starfield, right? They're going to be heavily influenced by microtransactions that recoup. And it's only going to be those 2 games.
yep.
The rest of the games are going to be fucking also microtransactions, smaller games. So, that being said, this I am 90% certain that they're not going to add any type of visual media to PlayStation Plus or any kind of sucker punch, any kind of counter punch to Game Pass. Reason why? They could have basically created their own streaming service and had their movies, the Spider-Man and everything else, released day and date. What did they do though? They went to Netflix and said that after it comes out of theater, it goes straight to Netflix, right? Why did they do that? Because Netflix is 200 million people strong. There are 200 million people eyes on there already. That's why Netflix is so important in general and why it won't sink. There's a lot of eyes on there whether they owe money or not. They have a value to it. It's like a crackhead that could build a house. Sprinkle,
Yeah, I was thinking about that too.
sprinkle some crack on
Because
that
like,
nigga, yo, and help him and he'll build a whole house for you. So that's what that's like. There's negativity to it, but there's some value to it. That's why. Not only that, but their Bravia TVs have the Bravia Core, which is also going to display their IPs and the highest fidelity possible. That is a service in itself. So that's service number 2. Then you have Crunchyroll and Amliplex. They're their
well, I
own
thought it
apps.
was Funimation.
Huh? Huh?
Go ahead, I'm listening.
What were you saying?
No, go ahead.
No, go on.
No, go ahead. No, I was just saying Funimation.
Funimation. Funimation and Crunchyroll. Right? You got those. You got those 2. Cool. Why they have so many streaming services? They're not going to consolidate those. They just can't. They can't. And it doesn't make any kind of financial sense for them to combine it again anime is, and no matter how loud these minorities are, they are still niche. In Japan, there are a lot. They don't have regular movies like that. Everything that they have is manga or anime. That's their movies. They don't have no
Yeah.
Marvel. That's what it is over there. They could, but they're
Yeah.
not. They're not going to. That convolutes the situation, and that's not what they want to do. They could. They can bundle all of them shits together, but again, when you bundle them together, you create overhead. No,
See,
they
as far as the
no
thing,
no
man,
Devil
you know,
Shooter. Devil Shooter. They're not going to be petty about it because Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man. They can't do anything about it. When Sony last year or the year before, when they said that they're taking Spider-Man out the Spider-Verse because because Disney wanted to have some crazy ass things where they barely get any money. So they see Sony doesn't make money off of the toys of Spider-Man, and they didn't want Disney didn't want to negotiate that with them. So Sony was like, I'm just going to take them out the MCU. It's cool. We got our own people that write stories, and we already made $1 billion making Venom. No, it didn't do good on Rotten Tomatoes, but mad people have seen it and they liked it. How about that? So Sony was in the leverage. Then, what do you call it? Disney had to come back to them and correct themselves because after you killed off Iron Man and most of the characters, you're only left with fucking Captain Marvel, which already no one likes that bitch. You know what I'm saying? They sold $1 billion because people wanted to see what she was going to do and finish the story. Has nothing to do how good the movie is. They know damn well that shit wasn't going to do well. So that's a whole other story. So no, they can't do anything with Spider-Man in terms of that. Again, when it comes to Umar, oh yeah, Umar, did you give me your email address so I can give you your $20 Amazon card? You gotta either DM me or send it in the culture, and I'll send that shit to you. So anyway, here's the situation, right? What I believe they're gonna do, very simple. I believe they're still gonna have their blockbuster games, regular, and once it hits saturation, then they're gonna put it on PlayStation Plus. They're going to alter PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now in some sort of way where it's combined or repurposed, right?
in what way?
I don't know. I think they're going to probably get rid of Plus. I mean, not, Now. I think they're going to get rid of Now. They didn't put that much money.
What do you think about?
Huh?
No, go ahead. You
No,
can
go on,
finish
go on,
your
go
thought.
on.
What do you think about backwards compatibility
I don't know
in
yet.
terms of like legacy
I don't know yet. That's
because
something.
I kind of like, you know, I kind of feel like some people are being a little premature when it comes to like them saying that Sony doesn't really value um, whatever like some of their legacy titles and stuff like that. Um, and I feel like I have a solution to it in some way. And I feel like if they were going to bring it back, it would probably be something along those lines, in a service, um, sort of like whatever, combining PS Plus and PS Now or something like that, or sort of like refining PS Plus in a way to where you can have access to them in some way. And I don't think it's going to be like full backwards compatibility um, because of some of the reasons that you said about licensing and all of that stuff. And obviously things in terms of like emulation for the PS3 and stuff like that, right? Um, but I think they will have some sort of answer to it. And I think whatever their answer to Game Pass I think it will be in some way related to it. As far as the movie aspect of it, it's a stretch. I mean, I think there's a possibility personally, but I mean, I guess it would make more sense, you know, for them to do something like I said, more along the lines of combining PS Plus, adding like legacy backwards compatibility through emulation and all that shit. And on top of that, not dropping their big games day and date in the service, like Horizon or something like that. Keep those games where they are. Make those big blockbuster games. They still cost $70, whatever the case, right? And they're going to be like, what they normally are. And then have the other aspect of it, where you have games like Oddworld, games like Maquette that dropped, I think last month in PS Plus, games like Destruction All Stars, Fall Guys, games like that. Where it's new to the fan base, but it's not like God of War type stuff. So I think it will kind of create a dynamic of you kind of get a little bit of both, because they've already stated that putting their big games into a service day and date is just not sustainable for them at all. And it makes sense, for them to not want to do that. So how do you come up with a solution to something like Game Pass? Well, in my opinion, like I said, you combine the services.
You are breaking up really bad, dude. It keeps getting progressively worse.
Can you hear me?
Did you even do anything different?
No, I think my internet connection is just waiting.
So I'll say this to be simple with this is that no, I don't think they're going to combine. I don't think they're going to combine any kind of visual media that is movies or shows. It's too again, gamers are different from. They're completely different from, or I shouldn't say completely, but they're different from people that watch movies and shows. They're just different. You don't want to combine them together. That's why you don't want to combine them together. You don't want to force people. If I want to have Funimation, then I gotta get PlayStation when I don't play games. You know what I'm saying? Or if I want to watch the TV shows or movies, now I gotta watch all this fucking anime shit and have a game. I don't even play games. That's why they don't want to do it. That's why they're going to different places.
But you know what, man? I was thinking about this too, man. Which the whole thing, and why I mentioned that whole thing about that Azure cloud, right? Like for example, Microsoft, they're trying to do all of this cloud-based game, right? Where you can play your games basically anywhere, console, the PC, mobile, TV, that even TVs and stuff like that out. You know what I'm saying?
Because you're breaking up,
I think Sony.
You're gonna have to like consolidate what you're saying. Like when you have a lot of stuff to say, you keep breaking.
What was the last thing you heard me say?
You was talking about the cloud. Just continue on what you're saying. Like,
Yeah,
what's the gist of what you're saying?
Yeah, I think what they might do is if they do some kind of visual media, whatever, movies and Sony production stuff in a service, I don't think it'll be necessarily like bound to the console, like where you have a PlayStation or something like that. I think what they're going to try to do is something similar to what Microsoft is trying to do. But to be honest, they already had remote play and all that stuff on the PS3, so I mean they were already ahead of it.
Logical is good.
You can access.
Well,
yeah.
Well, no. Like so you're basically saying this: you're gonna be able to download whatever this app is to any other service. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be kind of similar to like, like whatever. Like if you have Netflix on your phone, open your phone and watch a movie.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Not only that,
you're forcing people to buy shit that they don't want. That has always been a big issue.
Well, I'm saying, yeah. Now I'm saying, I know Omar left a comment. He was like, make bundles out of it. You could potentially do something.
Then you convolute it. You convolute it. You don't want to have a whole bunch of product. You just want to have a blanketed thing, a phrase, a catchphrase. You don't want to have a whole bunch of different products. You definitely don't want to do that, and then have different configurations for it. It's like having different SKUs for a console. That's never been really successful.
True that.
Yo,
Microsoft and a lot of your,
Yo, are you
talking
able to
next.
like back
But
out and
thank.
come back in? Maybe that's causing
All
it.
right,
You just keep getting worse and worse.
all right. Hold up.
You gotta forgive my friend Ken. His internet needs milk. So, um, here's the thing. This is what I believe they're gonna do, and I'm gonna just kind of tweak the original idea that I said a couple months ago. What I believe that they're going to try to handle is
Can you hear me?
basically um, have their AAA games and sell it traditionally, right? But have their offshoots. Think of it like this. This is the best way of me putting it this way, right? Um, Uncharted, Golden Abyss, not Golden Abyss. Sorry, Uncharted, Lost Legacy versus the Uncharted 4. Uncharted 4 would be, you know, the main game, and then the Lost Legacy would be something that would be day and date for anybody that has subscribed to it. That's what I believe that they're going to do, or any other like high
Can
risk
you hear me right?
little games, huh?
Can you hear me?
I mean, even saying that, you broke up a little bit. I could hear you.
Oh man, my internet is so bad, yo. Nah, go ahead, man. I'm listening.
So that's what I believe is going on. They are the model that I believe is going to be is a AAA game, normal traditional way of selling it. Any type of bigger DLC is going to go because Sony's not really big on DLC like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like they make a lot of money off of it, but this will be perfect for their Game Pass model. Any type of DLC that's big enough, such as like the Lost Legacy. So Uncharted 4, let's say we rewind all the way in the past to 2014. Uncharted 4, you would have to buy that, and then 6 months later it goes to Game Pass or their variant of Game Pass. But then also the day and date for the
Mhm.
DLC would come out. And if you don't have PlayStation Plus or whatever they call it, you won't be. You have to buy it by itself, or if you have the PlayStation Plus or whatever they call it, it just automatically will be there for you. I definitely believe that Sony will go for the um, microtransaction route for these particular games. So they're going to try to make really quirky games, I believe, to get microtransactions because that's where you get a lot of money from. And Sony's probably
All
still
guys.
trying to figure out what's going on with that, huh?
Yeah, like all guys.
I don't know if it's going to be that small, but something along the lines of the dodgeball game, you know what I'm saying, that they have, some sort of
Mhm.
co op or whatever the case is. I told you before, what I believe that Sony's going to do is these survival games. I definitely believe that, these co op games where it encourages you to, kind of play with friends.
Mhm. I mean, mine the anime stuff. I mean, that's basically what I said. You know, um, I mean, outside of like I didn't say live games, but I think it's going to be, uh, some of their smaller games, um, like stuff like Destruction All Stars and stuff like Oddworld and all that stuff, right? Even with those, you know, like even with those, um, I mean, outside of like I didn't say live games, but I think it's going to be.
I just want you to hear how I sound.
Yo, what do you? Just playing it back for me, yo.
Mm-hmm. So I'm saying keep it brief because I can't hear you anyway.
I can't get a full thought out, man. My internet is just like freaking messing up, man. I don't know.
Is it
Yeah,
raining?
that's pretty much what I had to say.
Is it raining over there?
Nah, it's all right.
It's raining over here a lot.
Yeah, just my internet. Yeah, horrible. But I mean, as far as that, I mean, that's pretty much what I think, man. Um, for the most part. So I mean, I didn't really have that much else to say about it, that specifically. Yeah, I can't get a full thought out anyway. Fucking internet, it's trash.
We got to talk about the other little subjects. This is why I was saying we can't have like a whole bunch because these things were really meaty. All of them were very
True.
meaty.
True. Yeah, some of this other stuff, man, we can kind of just go through. It's not really like a whole lot
I'm
of
gonna have to be a
like big
translator
shit.
for you. So, what's the
Um,
first thing you want to talk about?
um, so we could just mention Near Replicant just went gold. Something that's pretty cool. If anybody's looking forward to that, that's supposed to be 27.
Oh yeah. I was thinking about the Nier game. That game brings up bad memories. That's the only reason why I wouldn't play it. It's involving people that I can't fuck with. So there's that. Uh, what else are we
Hold
doing?
on. Go ahead. You can keep that.
I don't even know. Okay. All right. Let me go to the topics here. Let's see here. I wonder why it doesn't show that I'm in here. Topics. Let's see here. So one of the things I wanted to talk about is Deathloop delayed until September 11th. What a horrible game! I don't know about how I feel about Abandon. I don't even know what it is, but they're going to show it. So I mean, I can't even say it looks good. It just looks very clean. You know what I'm saying? It's very monochromatic. So usually when you want to make something look realistic, you take away the color
Yo,
typically. So
yo, can you hear me?
I mean, you sound low, but I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I just switched to my other headset. Um, hopefully it's clearer than my microphone. But
It's
anyway,
very low. So you gotta speak up.
okay. Um,
You
no,
know,
I was just saying
instead of buying an Xbox, you should have bought a fucking headset for your podcast. That would have really
it's
helped.
not the freak, it's not the headset, man. It's the internet connection, you know.
Why are you so low with this headset that you're using?
Oh, this one specifically.
Yeah,
It's just, yeah. I guess it is kind of. It's a Bluetooth headset. It's kind of old. Hold up. I got a better idea.
you might just put this shit on your phone. It's just Wi-Fi. So only thing I can-
Wait, I got you. Hold up. You can keep talking, man.
Yeah. So Deathloop delayed into September 11th. It's like they trying to give a bad fucking luck to that game. Why September 11th? Like for what? But I'm gonna honestly say I'm not really interested in Deathloop anyway. I was never interested in it. Every time they showed that, it make me roll my eyes. But ever since Microsoft purchased that studio, I really don't have any interest in that shit. Get kissed my ass. But I didn't even know. Next week though, going back to Nier Replicant, it's coming out April 22nd. It's one fucking week basically. That's fucking insane. Um, I won't be getting it because I have some personal things going on with that shit, man. I'm in my feels for that. You know, there's certain things I don't like, but uh, what do you guys think about the E3? It does look man. What about E3? And that Sony's not going to be there. I guess it doesn't really matter because the last couple of E3s were ass anyway. But I personally don't give a fuck about E3. I was hoping that shit vanished into an abyss, and here we are again. I'm like, fuck, here we go. It's back. Ken, are you fixed or no? Nope. So I personally don't really care about Deathloop. I don't care about E3. I don't know what's going on with the PlayStation Network Spring Sale, but that's one of the things that Ken wanted to talk about. Um, one of the
Yo,
biggest
can you hear me?
things that we didn't talk about with the future of PlayStation, and we oh what oh what's going to be SJW?
Yo, can you hear me now?
Yeah, well, you still sound low, but what did you do?
Switch to my other headset.
Now it's like you're in a
Literally.
blanket. I think you invested your money in the wrong place, bro. Shouldn't have got a three. Shouldn't have got a fucking Xbox, fucking Series X, man. You should have got fucking better internet in a headset.
Oh man, whatever. We're. I'm just gonna run with it, man. That's the best I got. Internet's being crappy right now. Anyway, what were you saying?
We were talking about Deathloop and how they're trying to sabotage their own game by releasing it on September 11th.
Sabotage. I don't know, man. I don't really know how I feel about that, to be honest. Um, it sounds a little bit far fetched in my opinion. You know that they're trying to sabotage Deathloop,
No, I'm not trying to
whatever.
say that they're trying to sabotage it like that. I'm just talking about 9/11. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put any.
Oh,
I wouldn't put anything
I
on
got
9/11.
I
Nothing at
got
all. You
you.
better off with
Yeah,
nine
man.
nine or 913 or 910, but not 9/11. That's you're not that good, buddy. And maybe Grand Theft Auto can pull that shit off, but not no fucking Deathloop. Like the concept seems a bit edgy for me, too edgy. You gotta. It's I
Mm.
don't know. It just seems like something that executive thought of that sounded cool on paper. You just
Yeah,
die
I
over
don't
and
know.
over again. I'm like, ugh.
I'm gonna be honest, dude. Like, I'm really not that interested in Deathloop, man. Um, I'm not like a huge fan of Bethesda games, just in general. Um, I mean, it looks like it has an interesting premise in terms of like you dying whatever constantly and whatever that one person that you have to fight
That's
or
how it's gonna
whatever.
feel. That's how it's gonna feel like when I play that game. I'm dying
Yeah,
constantly.
yeah. I mean, it's pretty cool. Like, don't get me wrong, man. And I might buy it. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm probably not gonna buy it day one, more than likely.
Yeah, well, you can
Um,
always buy it on Game Pass.
yeah, I could if I wanted to. I do have an Xbox now.
Better put some use to that shit.
But yeah, I mean for everybody who's like excited for it, man, you know, that's cool. I mean, it looks cool. It looks interesting. It looks like it might have an interesting story too. I personally, I can't really get with the style of it. You know, um, I'm not really like a big first person fan in general. So that already kind of doesn't really sit with me with the game. But I mean, it looks okay. I mean, for those who are interested in playing it, I think it'll be fun more than likely. I mean, whatever they're trying to do, it looks different. I give it that credit, and it looks like it's definitely going to be a relatively unique experience. And it's the same thing with what you call it, Ghostwire Tokyo. You know, to be honest with you, man, I think I'm a little bit more interested in Ghostwire than I am Deathloop. Ghostwire looks like wacky and just kind of weird.
Man, we ain't talking about no Ghostwire, man. You off the topic.
I know,
We don't got the major. We don't got the minutes all of the day, man.
man. I know, man. All right, but yeah, that's pretty much my thought about it. That it got delayed. So I don't really personally care about it. But for those people who were interested in it, man, I feel for you
I
because you gotta
feel
wait.
for you.
You gotta wait.
I think I
So
love you. What
yeah,
about
man.
E3?
What about it?
You did your subject. What about fucking the hell?
Nah, man. Honestly, the whole thing about E3, um, I'm kind of glad Sony's not going to be there again. In all honesty, um, and the reason why I'm sort of glad that they're not going to be there is because I sort of like the fact that they can kind of orchestrate their own whatever events, where they don't have to like what do you say, like plan around E3. Like E3's been such a big staple for like gamers like forever. You know, and a lot of times they would use that platform to reach as many people as possible, which is great. Because you get a chance to get your game in front of a lot of eyes or whatever, get a lot of attention for it. So it was great in that aspect, and it's sort of like a cultural thing now for gamers, which is also cool too. But me personally, being interested in like just the culture of what PlayStation is doing in general, I like the fact that they don't necessarily have to rely on it too much anymore, unless they want to. You know, if they have a specific purpose for being there, because they've already shown like last year in 2020 that they can garner just as much hype, if not more, for their platform and their games and their console without having to put out so much money for E3, you know, or just to be there for any cultural reasons specifically. Um, and it to me, it's sort of like, and I know some people are gonna some people are gonna be like, you know, we ain't really about this, but I think they're sort of entering into a realm of like sort of like what Nintendo does, and it's interesting. Nintendo's gonna be at E3, but Sony isn't. Um, but Nintendo kind of moves on their own, you know, like they don't really like stuff that happens with PlayStation and Microsoft and all that. Nintendo's not really that affected by it. You know, they really do their own thing. And I would love to see kind of like Sony be in a position to where they can do their own thing, you know. And it's not so much people jump. I mean, they jump to be an E3, but it's more like, you know, people are waiting for Sony to say something. Kind of like right now, you know, like people are clamoring for any sort of information or confirmation or word or anything, um, from Sony, just to like settle the unrest right now, you know. And it's like low key, I kind of like that, like like in some way, you know, in a weird kind of way, because they're kind of establishing their own sort of culture in that way. You know, they don't have to be relying on other platforms to be like massively successful at this point, especially in the age of like social media being so popular and massive and the internet and all that shit, right? So, um, E3, I think is cool. I mean, if they were there, that'd be great. Um, I enjoy watching it every year. Uh, Honestly, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if I'm gonna be as interested because they're not really gonna be there. Usually, I watch E3 just to see what Sony's gonna do for the most part, and some of the other publishers that are gonna be there that I'm interested in. Microsoft, I can't lie, they're not really. They never really have good shows, so I can't really, you know, say that I'm excited to see what they're working on. Um, but yeah, that I mean that's really my thought. So I don't really think it's a big deal that they're not going to be there. I think they're just going to sort of plan things out to, um, you know, have like their big showcase like right around the same time E3 happens. And it's interesting too because like if you look at the release of their games, and I mentioned this before, like right now they have Returnal coming out at the end of April, and then they have Ratchet and Clank coming out in June 11th, which is literally days before E3.
This does
So what
not
I think,
this does not sound like touching on a subject. Just by the way, it sounds like a full on subject.
yeah, my bad, man. But I honestly think in terms of E3, like I think what they're gonna do is they're gonna drop Ratchet and Clank right around that time, and then they're gonna have a big event, you know. And I think obviously Ratchet and Clank is gonna get a lot of positive reception. I think it's gonna get a lot of critical acclaim and all of that stuff, right? So why not continue that momentum? You know, drop Ratchet and Clank right there before E3. You know, people were playing that at the time, and then whatever, let Microsoft do their thing, EA or whoever else is gonna be there, Nintendo, do their thing at E3, and then come back and be like, yo, look at what we got, you know, and then they drop an event, whatever, a digital event or whatever, a live stream or some shit, you know, showing God of War or whatever the hell they're working on. So, and then they're gonna shut all that shit down.
Okay, let's see here. I already said my piece on that one at least. Now we're going to talk about the London studios, the Remedy the secret game. We're going to talk about the abandoned game. What do you guys say about all that? I've been talking for a while.
Uh, I mean, you kind of, I mean, we kind of touched on it earlier when with the first topic for future PlayStation. Um, but obviously, right now, as far as Remedy, that's still a rumor. Um, I think that would be great personally if it's true that Remedy is working on a PS5 exclusive. I think that they're a perfect fit. Do I think that they're like on the same level as say like Santa Monica or whatever? No, but I think they definitely have the formula that I think Sony kind of like the type of games that they have on their platform and that the type of players on their platform plays and all that shit, right? And me personally, I love their games. Um, like even on Xbox, man, like I played Quantum Break and I thought that game was. At first, I didn't really like it, but it grew on me. You know, I still liked them as a studio. I liked Alan Wake back in the day. Um, obviously, like Max Payne and all that shit, right? Control to me was awesome, and if they are working on a PS5 exclusive, I think it'd be great, you know, to see what type of game that they're working on. You know, I mean, for anybody who's played Control, it's just a crazy experience, man. Super crazy, wacky. It's like one of the most unique games I've played in a little while. So it's really cool, and I would really love to see that sort of energy on PlayStation. You know, exclusively, obviously. Um, so that'd be cool if that's actually in the works. London studio. The thing that's interesting to me about London studio specifically, because if you read that article, they say that they're looking for somebody to delve into uncharted territories for the PS5. And that I find particularly interesting because obviously it kind of goes back to what you know, like Mark Cerny was saying with the SSD and the whole architecture for the PS5.
SSD.
Yep, yep, I'm your GPU. Yeah, all that shit. but but yeah, man, I think they're it's interesting because I think they're sort of trying to break out of, you know, sort of like what Mark Sony was saying, old conventional ways of development and all that. I don't know, but the way that they worded it in the article or the listing for the hires or whatever, hiring, um, them going into uncharted territories with the hardware, that to me sounds great, man. I can't wait to see what they could possibly be working on, you know, on top of the fact that it's London Studios, you know, it's like one of Sony's smaller studios, so it's, you know, it's not like Santa Monica or Insomniac or whatever. So the fact that they're getting a chance to work on their own new exclusive like PS5 IP, that's hopefully not a VR game. Hopefully, I mean, I think that'd be great still because we're getting PSVR 2, and they need content for that. But I would love to see them sort of spread their wings and do a game that, um, like a big AAA game that really takes advantage takes advantage of the hardware. Um, you know, which also sort of plays into what we were talking about earlier, where Sony's like people are coming up with these narratives about how Sony's like risk adverse and stuff like that. Obviously, that's not the case. You know, so I mean, if they're greenlighting projects for London studios and what you call it, like Ben Studio, and you know they're getting games like Abandon and all that stuff, they're obviously risking, you know, using some sort of risk with these games, and I think that's pretty cool, man. So I can't wait to see what they're working on. I really enjoyed their VR game, London Studios, Blood and Truth. If anybody, I don't know if anybody in the chat has played it, but it's a cool game. VR in general is cool. So it'd be interesting to see what kind of stuff they can come up with, and to see, you know, just how much their studios have grown. Um, yeah, and to see whatever uncharted territory they're trying to get into with the hardware for the PS5. So that's what I find the most interesting about that one specifically. Um, as far as Abandoned, you know, there's not really much to say about it outside of, you know,
Inside
it's
of the SSD. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself.
yeah, man. I mean, I think the trailer that they showed for Abandon looked it just really looked like a tech demo more than anything. There wasn't any gameplay for it. not like
Yeah, because what's
gameplay.
his name? He wanted to ask me like, what did I think about it? I don't know what to think about it. Truthfully,
Yeah,
I don't
I mean,
know. I don't
they didn't really show anything for it, man. I mean, it was kind of
know.
like
They said
I
they're
saw
going
people.
to.
Yeah, they will, which I'm looking forward to seeing what like how the game.
I guarantee you, if I see it, I'm gonna be like,
I don't know, man. I was trying to do research on that studio, and I could not find any information on them whatsoever. Like the only information that I could find on that studio was like some VR game that was like abandoned or canceled or something like that. That was supposed to be an early access on Steam, and that was it. Like their website is completely down right now. You know, they don't have any social media links. I
but
tried to look up information on the what you call it, the dude who actually made the comment in the PS blog.
it's funny.
Um,
It's funny because people thought that it was Kojima playing games, and they had to come out and be like, "Yo, nigga, that's nah, nah."
yeah, yeah, man. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I was kind of on out too, a little bit, like low key. Um, but after they made the statement, obviously that shut that down. But yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see what they're doing, man. But I don't like the fact that there's no information on that studio whatsoever. You know, it's just like, what do you like? What do you think about that? Like, how are you supposed to take that? You know, you get this like pretty decent looking trailer, but there's no information on the studio whatsoever. No prior games. But Sony's just greenlighting a game that's supposed to be AAA quality by some unknown studio. Like, how are you supposed to take that? And on top of that, it's supposed to be releasing 20 quarter four 2021.
It's funny
So like, really,
when I type in Ben Studios, they have a hashtag within their name is Death Stranding, not Death Stranding. um, Days Gone is what I wanted to say. And it just goes to show you, like, I don't think that it's not happening. I just think that it's on hold, not right now.
I agree, man. I think it's totally gonna happen. I just don't think it'll be like their next project. You know, um, shit. I don't even know how long it's gonna be before their new project comes out. Because the article, if it's to be believed, said that they just started working on it a month ago. So
I know that doesn't. That means there's many different layers of working on it. You know what I'm saying? So you can work on a game and just be in the concept phase and not even touch game code. You know what I'm saying?
true.
I mean, honestly, the engine still. I mean, the engine is existing. So
So do you think that they've already kind of gone through like the concept phases and stuff like that? And when they said started a month ago, it was like the actual development cycle
I
for it.
think he said it in David Jaffe's thing. Like, it's in good hands if they make a sequel. They already have like the idea of the you know of the game of the series.
Hmm.
I'm actually tweeting David Jaffe with this one. I mean, you gotta let people know like what the man. How you not know? How you walk up in this bitch and not know this shit, yo? I'm not. I'm not. No. You know what you do? You rewind this podcast. That's what you do to find out that information. No, I'm playing. I'm playing. That'll be a dick move. Um, I'll say this and then at the end of the podcast. Um, so
What'd you say?
basically,
I'm sorry. I think I got kicked out. What'd you say?
no, hold on. Let me wrap this up here. Okay. So basically, what ended up happening with the David Jaffe interview, he interviewed um, the ex like executive of Ben Studios, which his name is Jeff Ross, and he wanted to kind of address all of the rumors, he wanted to address the Jason Schreier article to figure out what's going on. And what he ended up saying was very telling. The or you can Are you kidding me? You mean, or you can tell me? Is that what you mean? Yeah, fucking up. You fucking up, devil shooter. So, um, he basically stated, and fucking Umar, I still don't have your email. I guess I guess you're nervous about me hacking you. I don't know. I don't know what's the idea. Oh,
Yeah,
I could just
man.
actually send you the code. That's what I can do. I'll just send you the code. I'll DM you with the code. You know, we gotta go there. Oh, I'll send it to you. I don't trust black man. He may hack me. Anyway, so um, he mentions the culture of PlayStation. How he addresses that they do still take risks. They are still pretty open for new ideas, and they function like any other fucking publisher. In the case of they don't want to lose money. When you pitch an idea to them, they gotta assess the risk reward. And if it's too much risk and not enough reward, then it will get rejected, like any other time or any other company. You just can't do things and expect it. Expect it. You can't just expect them to just automatically
Green
just
light that
green light
shit.
any fucking thing. That doesn't work that way. So essentially, he mentions that the culture of them, they still take risks. He left specifically because when they hired new people that were in different industries, it was like too many cooks in the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? It was small enough to where one person can manage, and he just didn't. He felt obsolete. Too many people. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, it's kind of like the podcast. If you have a lot of people, now you gotta make sure everybody's on the same page. Now you gotta make sure that you don't piss somebody off. You gotta kind of discuss things. It's hard. It's a hard thing to do. You know, working with a lot of people. And the more people you throw into the pot, the worse it gets. So they went from 65 people to like 180, and they were like, "Fuck it." He was like, "Nah, I'm out," because the culture is changing too much. I'm getting your gift card now. So that's what ended up happening with Ben Studios. He didn't confirm that. Um, he didn't confirm that that the game wasn't um, canceled. I mean, that happens all the time. Pitches sometimes don't go through. It is what it is.
Yeah, man. But you know what? That doesn't mean that they can't come back. You know.
You can always repitch.
Soon. Yep. And I think they will, man. I mean, even with what you were saying about Jeff Ross saying that it's in good hands and all that stuff, man. I don't think it's really a question of if. I think it's more like when. You know, when are they going to get the pitch that Sony will greenlight for them to actually make the sequel for it? But in the meantime, they'll be working on a new IP franchise, which is fine, man. Because honestly, um, I think it's better that way anyway. Because I know that like people want a sequel for it, but honestly, like to have something new as opposed to like continuing to put like the same shit out, I think it's better that way. It helps to keep the franchise from getting stagnant um, in certain ways. So, and I know it's a new IP, but you get what I'm trying to say. Like, instead of it being like The Last of Us every time, it's like, you get Days Gone, a new IP, which could potentially be a hit, um, whatever, possibly. And then, whatever, we come back to Days Gone 2, then it's going to be hype, you know? Because now you're giving people what they want.
Umar, I still don't
Well,
have. I'm sorry, my bad. Umar, I still don't have. I don't have anything from you. I don't know who you sent it to. I don't have your email. I don't know what subject you put it in. Sent you my email in the Discord. I don't see none of that. Oh yeah, we still gotta give out. We still gotta give away fucking Returnal,
Yeah,
and we have to wait until Pablo Escobar comes in.
I know, right?
I don't know what happened to that one. He was all about, I got you. I see it. You didn't have to put it. You didn't have to put it there, man. Can you delete it afterwards? Just once.
I think that was pretty much it, man. Unless there was something else you wanted to touch on. I
Nope.
mean,
I want everybody to know that he got his gift card. So
okay.
before we close shop.
Yeah, see, I wanted to touch on the PSN spring sale, but honestly, I think that's something that we should do at the beginning, as opposed to the end.
This is why I'm saying you
Um,
can't stuff the show for as much as you were doing. That's like way too many subjects. Let me see here.
well, they're not really subject. They're
I mean, but
subjects are just
you
more like,
spent a good 10 minutes on each one of them, and the show can only be like an hour and a half. Let's see.
dude, an hour and a half was an hour
I
ago.
I
That
know,
was way before I started talking about this shit.
I know. That's what I'm saying. You can't touching up on it is spending like a minute or two on there, and I like fucking the whole 10 minutes. Let me see here. Buy now. Now they want me to put my password in. Not now.
I'm looking forward to this, man. You know, I kind of wanted to say this as well, man, because a lot of people, for some reason, are just like down on PlayStation, and Sony, just because they got some news that they didn't like or something like that. You know, personally, it hasn't really affected my enjoyment of the PS5 and what they're going to do. I'm still looking forward to Returnal, Ratchet and Clank, and all this other stuff that they're supposed to be showing later on. Horizon, I can't wait for them to show a trailer for that, and some of the other games. So I don't know, man. I don't personally. I get some of the concern, with potentially some of the directions that Sony might be going, but in terms of like the games that they're doing,
Hold on, Umar. Did you get the email? Go on, please.
yeah, that's pretty much it, though, man. I mean, in terms of the actual games that they're coming out with, none of this has really affected me in terms of like whether or not I'll, you know, whether or not I'm just gonna like not buy their games or something like that. I'm still looking forward to their games, um, and I think once they show them, they're gonna be like great, man. I think it's gonna blow a lot of people away. So I don't know.
See, we already know this though, but like, I don't know what the fuck happened with people. Like, people are ridiculous. It's
Honestly, dude, I think it's kind of like what you mentioned earlier, man. That the whole Twitter bubble and the whole fanboy stuff. It's like, you lose some brownie points on Twitter, right? And you got these ex bot dudes, um, who are like feeling super like vindicated in some ways or whatever, and then they're always in your mentions, talking about this crap. But I mean, when you really, and I understand like some of the optic stuff too, like with MLB or whatever, it makes Sony look bad, and the whole thing with the licensing. I get that stuff too, man. But also coupled with that, they have games that are coming out. Like what? I don't get it. Like I don't understand why they're so upset. You know.
well because they're fanboying and people get caught up in the moment. Caught up in the rapture of you.
Bro, I guarantee you, man. As soon as Returnal drops, as soon as Ratchet and Clank
No,
drops,
people are gonna be like, I don't really like this game. I feel like this game is mid. They're gonna say it.
they will.
I'm right.
They will.
I thought this game was gonna be better than that.
Yeah, man. I
That's
don't
what's
know,
gonna.
man. I think
That's
people are
what's gonna
sleeping on
happen. People are
Returnal.
gonna be like, I thought it was gonna be better. I mean, it's okay. It's
Yeah.
just, I mean, it's not for me. Who gave us a dislike? Who unsubscribed?
Yeah, I saw that too. Some bitch ass motherfucker.
I wonder who did it. What did I say that was wrong? I guess I said something about a penis or some stupid shit. Oh well. Kiss my ass. That's how I fucking roll, my dude. That's the fuck how I roll. If you can't take fucking toilet humor, I don't know what to fucking tell you, dude. I'm giving a dislike. Oh, how could you? How dare you? Wait, let me see if I can find the meme. How dare you? How dare you? Meme. Here we go. Is this just gonna be her? Fuck, here you go. Hold on.
Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you?
Yo, I low-key kind of want to pull up the to get some duck
Who said that?
from that movie that I mentioned earlier. You always got chicken. I'm tired of chicken. Oh man, to get some duck. It was Chris Rock, by the way, man. So imagine his voice, man. That's what made it so funny.
Mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you?
That's so extra, yo. That's Twitter in a fucking nutshell. How dare you? How dare you? That's what somebody said. Yo, somebody was looking at that shit. Was like, I ain't scrubbing today.
How dare you?
They said the cat says. Why does cat say the N word, yo? I'm sorry, guys. If it was on Game Pass, it would be amazing. Yo, this is the free shit on Game Pass.
Yo, I gotta. Maybe this one.
Yeah. What? Chicken again? We have chicken every day. I'm tired of chicken.
Yo, can you hear that?
Barely.
He said chicken.
Chicken? Yes. What? Chicken again? We have chicken every day. I'm tired of chicken. I like it, but I don't like it every day. Alright, this is about chicken because no, this is about all the other animals out there that are dying to be eaten that we don't eat. Have you ever heard of rancho? Have you ever heard of pork chop? Get a nigga a taco. See, I'm really want to see them that get bothered right now eating all this chicken. Chicken anymore. Chicken hogs don't eat this much chicken. You know, look, where we go? Let's get some duck.
Get some duck.
To get some duck.
Anyway, we're gonna end this stream here. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, guys, thanks for rocking out, man. It was a pretty good show. I wish all of us could be here, man, but it is what it is. We had some good topics, though.
Yes, sir. And we're out.
We outie. All right, you guys have a good one. Peace.